Welcome back to another episode of the FNtasia podcast. It's a big episode because we have a new season, but not just a new season, boys. We got a new chapter. Chapter 6, season 1 is here, and so much has changed as expected with a new chapter. We've got a new map, we've got a bunch of new POIs, we've got a bunch of new, mechanics and additions to the map and the game that have changed how things are working. So this episode, we're going to run you all through everything and give our opinions from Fortnite experts, quote unquote. How you guys doing, first and foremost, sir? You guys excited? Enjoying the new season so far?
I'm doing good. Yeah, dude, this is, okay, I'm just going to put out there, this is the greatest season ever created. Wow. That might be a hot take, but I'm just going to put that one out there.
I don't know if it's a hot take, but that's a good take. That's a correct take.
It's a correct take.
For once. I'm proud of you for bringing that. That's some heat. That's some heat.
Me.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the boob tweet. I think this is one of the best seasons of all time. No doubt. I actually wonder, do the casuals like it? Because I've seen so many competitive players really enjoy the season. So usually that just means the casuals will hate it. So, I will actually need some casuals to comment and tell us, do you hate this season or not? I think it's great.
Saying the best season 2 days in, I mean, is there more of a Fortnite take than that? We haven't seen any tournaments or anything. All we've seen is just we saw 1 day of customs yesterday. And to say all the pros are enjoying it, hit scan meta with scopes, I don't think everyone's enjoyed it. But overall, everything is really good. It's looking up to be a really good chapter. We just have to see how it goes into tournaments, but it's one of the best starts we've had to a chapter for sure.
We just see the potential.
Yeah, exactly.
We see the potential, mate. I know you're saying, it's too early to say. We see the potential. We're looking forward here. We're using our analysis, our brains, to see what's going on. We are clairvoyant,
It's not only customs, but it's the greatest customs ever that's been hosted on the day. Dude, there's so many drops. There's so much loot. It's so good. Games are stacked. It's a great time when you have Tayson and Thomas HD playing 7 hours of scrims in 1 day. How can you beat that? The two goats. Yeah, Fortnite's so back, man. So back.
I just set a reminder for myself because you just did something I found so funny that we're going to say it after the end of the podcast. All right, guys, I'm loving the new season so far myself as well. Let's get into some of the parts of the new season. First and foremost, when we did the pod last week and we got the teasers of the map and stuff, we all talked about how beautiful the maps looked and how amazing it was. I still haven't actually gone in and turned on max settings and rolled about, but I definitely will do that after this now. The new map, it's huge, it's massive, there's a lot going on, a lot of things that look somewhat familiar to things we've seen in the past, but a lot has changed. What are you guys thinking of the new map, all the new POIs, where you guys been landing, what are your favorite spots so far?
I was mid Pixie Max, boys. So firstly, you've asked what's your favorite spot so far. I don't know a single POI's name. Same. At this minute, I know one. I cannot tell you. Was it?
Bird.
That shit makes me laugh. It's good. I couldn't tell you a single POI name. But that's new for you. That's the same stuff with the new chapter. I always forget every single time. So I can't tell you where I've been dropping or what I've been liking. I've just been landing all over, trying to go anywhere and whatnot. Wherever I've been going, it's been sick. I feel like I'm always getting loot. I feel like I've always got a loadout to fight with. I always feel like there's options. There's mats available, which Chapter 2 Remix had nothing. There was nothing in Chapter 2 Remix in terms of mats. So I'm always stacked outside of metal. Generally loving it. Love the map.
I mean, can we look at all the POIs quick? Can we get them up?
Yeah, bring them up quickly.
I think we have there we go.
As Reese touched on, there's not a lot of metal in a lot of the POIs. It's kind of start of the chapter. Always, they seem to forget about the metal, especially if you're landing Night Shift Forest or a landing spot around that area. There isn't as much metal. But one thing that some players have liked that I've spoken to is about the non-50-50 aspect. You land a lot of spots because of the way they're laid out. There's not a lot of 50-50 happening. You can land at one house, another house, or you can even just split it. You can get good enough loot because of the sheer amount of chests and shield barrels there are on the map. You know, there's so many barrels on the map and slurp trucks and things like this, and the sprites, that you don't actually need to fight off spawn a lot of the time. It's really nice, and it's a nice change from what I felt like the past few chapters was a lot of landing spots were just best drop wins. If you had worst drop, you couldn't win off spawn at all.
My question to everyone is, what is the best drop on the map? Because I feel like that question is super, super hard to answer, which means the map is good, right? There's not like one specific ultra unbelievable broken spot of the map, which means that everyone has a shit ton of loot. There's a lot of chests. There's a lot of things to third-party loot. There's nothing to 50-50. Yeah, I mean, there's literally 500 more chests now compared to that of Chapter 5, right? So it does feel like we're actually finally playing Fortnite. I feel like in some of the OG seasons, something in Chapter 5, you feel like you're playing some scuffed simulator shit because you had nothing. You're on the poverty line the entire time. But now I'm blessed. I can land on 3 chests. I'm coming up with 3 minutes and 3 big pots. It's beautiful.
3 minis. That's stacked. But if I want to answer the question about is like what do you think the best spot is? I'm gonna say anywhere on the south near one of the god mountains. I mean, if you're having to rotate into any of those mountains in the hit scan meta, you're just not asking for a nice time. You know, I think any of those mountains, anywhere near any of those mountains, and you're having a good time for any south pool.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this woke fucking super competitive analysis and fucking view shit. Brute's asking where the fucking loot's at, and you're here talking about mountain rotating,
what's the best
bro.
Well, the positioning of the mountain.
He asked what the best
Bruce asking, wait. Bruce asking, yo, what's the new tilted towers? And you're here talking about mountains and shit, bro. Bro, what was your question roughly translating to?
My question was, what do you think is the most broken spot on the map right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Telling me about fucking mountains and shit, bro.
No, because that is the most broken spot. That is the most broken
spot. I was thinking about loot
bro.
in mind. I was thinking about certain players doing well in certain spots, therefore, because the loot. But I was just saying that the loot is balanced around the map. There's equality.
If the loot is balanced, what's the next thing that matters? I want to ask you that. I want to ask you that.
Coach Harry. All right, thank you. Let's move on now.
Press the button. Pressing the button.
Fucking mountains.
All right.
Guy.
Sorry, my bad.
Another big addition to this chapter, which I think a lot of people were curious about what was going to happen with this. We had a conversation about this last week. Hit scan weapons back. We've already sort of mentioned it loosely already on the show. Hit scan weapons. I mean, a lot of people have mixed views. I know a lot of the casual community love hit scan. It's the best thing ever. Apparently, they hate bullet drop for reasons we all know. Are you guys content with hit scan being the weapon meta this chapter?
No. One thing that's really annoying, right, is the fact that we had like a really well balanced AR meta and kind of stuff like that. I say really well balanced, but it fixed a lot of the problems. Storm surge, long distance tags, all these different things. First person weapons with hit scan are so powerful. And now, if you've played like a bunch of ranked this season, there are just times where you are just getting lasered, just insta, like 100 HP gone or something like that. And this is ranked against like not great players for the most part. Go up into like a tournament. Look, after this, let's just go in, rank check, and then we'll edit it in with a screenshot right here of who's a higher rank.
100% edit in.
Yeah. Edit yourself at a higher rank than me, I bet. So, going into tournaments and fighting good players with this and they're like playing scrims with pros is going to be a next level difference. The one thing I really don't like, this is basically my only complaint about the season so far, is that the meta is so centralized around the Hollow 13 AR, where if you don't have that, you are not hitting shots. Like, picking up a Gold Fury assault rifle where it doesn't have a scope, there's literally just no point. Like, you are not trading... Like, you're not out trading someone damage-wise who has a scope on their AR. So, like, it's very centralized around the fact that you need to grab the AR with a scope on it. And that makes me not like the hit scan whatsoever, basically.
Agreed. I agree with everything you said there. I just think the one thing about the red dot especially is, why is the fire rate so fast on it? Like, it actually feels decent in box. Like, if you're going to have a gun in a hit scan meta which has a scope, last in the OG season we had the scoped AR, but that's impossible to use in box. That gun is virtually unusable in box, right? But you have this red dot AR, which is honestly absolutely fine in box, whilst also being insanely good at getting surge and being able to beam people either when you're I think the worst one is when you're fighting someone, you're just getting third-partied from someone far.
It's terrible.
Yeah, 200 meters away, you just get hit for 100 because it's not hard to hit with this gun. And also, we have it on our screen, that SMG, and we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to it, but that SMG with no bloom, barely any recoil, with red dot as well, it's as good. It is unbelievably broken.
Precision's in the name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's sort of the name of it. But for
it's funny because they put precision in the name, and you don't have to be precise. You can just be an anybody in like, it's like,
The thing about the ARs that I think I would just want to add quickly to what you said there, Harry, is that when you're saying it's good in box, if you look at actually just a straight damage per second, they're almost exactly the same between the Fury and this AR. So like, when you have a choice between the two ARs, why would you ever choose the Fury when you're doing the same damage in box, the same like damage per second generally, and it's easier to hit shots? So, you know, just that to me slightly doesn't make sense.
You can also choose, if you don't like the scope, you can also uncant. So is that the word?
Yeah.
Is that the adjective? Uncant your weapon?
Uncant.
Yeah. So
we'll
they
believe
added,
it is.
Yeah, you can uncant that shit, mate.
That's what, you like knew it, but why were you not sure?
I know the
You're
word is
supposed to flex,
canting.
like, you sure it's this, guys?
Sure, it's uncant,
yeah,
guys.
it's in my vocabulary. No, I know it's called you cant your weapon because I was looking at the settings, but I didn't know if it was uncanting or was it decanting. You know, there's multiple different.
I've Googled uncant. I've Googled uncant a weapon and there's no results.
It might be.
However, there's a result for
list,
weapon
probably.
canting.
Anyways, if you don't like the scope of it, you can just uncant your weapon, right? Like you can ADS out or decant your weapon. You can just ADS out pretty much, right? So there's no reason to carry the Fury AR at all. And I want to go to your point, Reese, because you mentioned, I wonder if the casuals like the hit scan stuff and they like this sort of season. Well, king of the casuals, Nicholas A. 30th, has tweeted, I'm going to say it, hit scan weapons are not it. First person scopes this season with 100% accuracy is instant death. If Nicholas A. 30th says that hit scan ain't it, I'm going to believe him. You know, he speaks for the people. So as a competitive and a casual community, we need to join hands together and say, no, more. It is enough. We cannot have this anymore.
I do think Big Nick, not Santa Claus, but our Big
Nicholas,
Nick, of course. Yeah, the Santa Claus of the Fortnite scene. Always giving presents.
Always spreading joy to the
Always
kids.
spreading joy. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if he would be king of the casuals because he's actually good at like building and editing and box fighting, unlike a lot of players who aren't. So you know, you get exactly
asking for e-servers. The casuals don't care about that shit.
Yeah.
Casuals don't look at ping.
So I won't know if that's a straight representation. I haven't seen much conversation or discourse from the casuals about hit scan. Obviously, the tweet went
you've not
off.
been seeing then.
I've been
well, hey, hold on. My tweets have been banging. But yeah, I don't know. I've not seen much. So let me know. Let me know what's going on with the hit scan with the casuals then.
Without side-railing the conversation, I just want to say, like, who does speak for the casuals? Because I don't think it's Nick.
Furries, bro.
Like, Ninja.
There's that one dude on Twitter that loves to complain about anything. It's like Josiah or something. That's king of the casuals. He's got like 3,000 followers on Twitter, but every single tweet bangs like 30K because they all just sit there just retweeting that shit. He is the king of the casuals. But the fact that you said there's no indication of what casuals want is crazy because before the season came out, I made a tweet because there was like a trailer and you could see like the bullet traveling. I was like, that means there's no hit scan anymore. And oh my god, the replies, the quote retweets. Okay, and thank god OG Fortnite's coming out in 6 days. Oh my god, thank god this is happening. The amount of people that were pissed because they added bullet drop back was insane. And you can already tell. Wrong. Yeah, I was wrong, but like it did. I mean, I can't lie. It's impossible to aim right now because it feels like you do have bullet drop because you can see the bullet coming out. But then you just remember it's hit scan. But that might just be a me issue.
That does sound like
that's a you issue. Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, the majority of things I've seen, especially with the wording that Epic's put in the blog post, the amount of time they've had to mention, yo, by the way, guys, it's hit scan. Yo, in the blog post, hit scan. Hey, let's tweet out this picture. This gun. It's gone. Hey, come back to the game. So they were very intentional in what they were doing. They know this is a like a make or break type of thing for the casual user base. For competitive, we'll play whatever the fuck we have, whatever. We don't really care. But for those casuals, if there's no hit scan this season, legitimately, there'll probably 1 million people less playing it.
I don't know if
That's
I
a big
agree.
number.
I agree, man.
Because you have so I hear what you're all saying about like the casuals, but
Put your hands down.
Isn't OG for the casuals? Isn't that the purpose of bringing OG back, was for the casuals to be able to enjoy it? I know some of the casuals want to. Yeah, but it's 6 days. So we have hit scan for the 6 days before OG.
Yeah, but you want them to buy the battle pass with Godzilla and the Jordans and shit before they go on to OG, right? So
yeah. But no, I just think, in my opinion, as we've all said, like hit scan in this day and age doesn't really fit, especially with scopes. Like if you want to have hit scan, even without scopes, it still doesn't feel that fun to play with anymore. Now we've had bullet drop, but I mean, what the casuals want is what the casuals get, to be honest. So we'll deal with hit scan. That's what we'll deal with it.
The only legitimate saving grace is, like we said, the amount of heals on the map. So you can get beamed, heal up again, get beamed, heal up again. You're not unbelievably scuffed every single time you get shot at, right? So that's the only saving grace. You can third-party loot stuff. You can pick up a little blue shitter and throw him on the ground, and he sprays up blue stuff for you, and that's it. So it's bad, but it's also not unplayable. Maybe I'm being Stockholm syndrome by Epic now. I don't know.
There's two sides of it, right? There's basically two sides of the same coin as always. If you use this AR and you shred someone, you're like, I shit on him, bro. I shit on him. I'm so good. And then if you insta die, it's like, oh, this hit scan just sucks, man. It's so annoying.
Awful.
And that's the thing. The one thing about the heals is like, it is really easy just to instantly die 200-0.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest problem. Like, if you got beamed a bit and you had to heal, that's fine. But the Hollow has 0 bloom. It is literally 100% accurate. It has a very minimal recoil as well. It's like, it is very easy to hit 100+ damage. And if you 3-2-1 someone in duos or in trios, it's like, they're just dead.
Yeah. I mean, Fortnite for you. Fortnite, well, yeah. We'll see.
Good chat, guys. Fucking hell.
I don't, but Levenwell want to talk.
I left you all speechless, speechless by my analysis.
That's the second time that's happened today. What's happening today? Are we losing our chemistry?
We are.
Just like, are we
new
falling off?
tech. We have new tech, guys, and it's throwing us off here.
Nah, man. I think we might have fallen off, bruh. Fucking, bruh. I don't know. I mean, hit scan, I feel like at this point, we've had this conversation so many times. There's a clear divide, and we'd fall on one line of that divide,
Mm.
Yeah.
Simple as that, really.
True.
Yeah, but well, we'll see. I'm interested to see, like, as the season develops, whether as you're saying, the pro community saying, oh, it's the best season ever, how quickly that disintegrates when we start playing tournaments, and you are just getting beamed constantly, and you are just. Yeah, I just feel like it's going to end up very, very quickly, the community going, this is the worst season ever because of hit scan and the red dot. Not anything else, like the landing spots are good, the heals are good, the sprites are really cool, but generally just two things, the hit scan and the red dot, can just make the season so unenjoyable to play.
Yeah, that's why at least I thought if they were to bring back hit scan, they wouldn't have like red dots or any sort of scopes, but yeah. All in all though, weapons as a whole, you guys liking the new pumps? We didn't really talk about the shotgun meta. How you guys feeling about shotgun meta right now?
No, fucking this Harry guy, man. We're gonna get him off this podcast. Like, just nothing but bad takes. Three. For anyone who's not played yet, 3 different shotguns. You've got the pump shotgun, which is goated. You've got 2 of the worst shotgun. You got the worst shotgun of all time, which is the Oni shotgun, and then you've got the ball shack shotgun to the bottom right there as well.
Wait, you think the Oni's worse than the auto?
Okay, you have not gotten in a box 1 tile radius with that auto shotgun and 2 shot someone with it. I can tell your aim's fucking lackluster. Lackluster, mate. Get in a box.
How have you not picked it up? They're everywhere.
Oh shit, I dropped that shit Insta. What, you guys are using that fucking ball
sometimes you have to.
There's a reason it's shaped like a fuck. There's a reason it's shaped like a cock because it's something thick, mate. That's it.
Nah, okay, here's the thing.
Balls in the shaft.
It is nothing but minimums if you're over a tile away. But if you're in someone's box, that thing is one of the most broken auto shotguns of all time. It's really easy to 2-shot someone with it. Like, probably the easiest shotgun to 2-shot with ever. that in a bold statement. Maybe
There's
not as easy
no
as a
way.
gatekeeper.
There's
Nah,
no
I take,
way it's
okay,
the easiest shotgun to
hold
two-shot
on.
with. Like, there is
That-
literally impossible
that
that's the
That
case.
is a lie. That's a lie. Okay, I'll rephrase that. It's the easiest auto shotgun to kill someone with fast in a box because say with a
Hasn't every
gatekeeper.
auto shotgun been terrible except for like one?
Drum shotgun.
No,
Exactly.
a lot of
That's
them
why
are
it's-
pretty-
Drum shotgun,
drum
was,
shotgun
drum
was
shotgun was
good.
too
Yeah,
tappable. Yeah.
Yeah, the drum shotgun was good, and then like most auto shotguns have just always been terrible.
Exactly. So it's really good. I mean, I think it'll be one of those guns that it's not rewarding to die to if you're in a box and someone just two shots you or something. But I think no one's going to take it because the pump is so good. But the Oni shotgun actually might be one of the worst shotguns of all time. I tweeted it and it has like 20k likes right now. So like clearly I'm not the only one who says it. And there's like a guy who responded. Are there quite a few people saying, "Oh, it's a skill issue"? I was like, no, mate. Mythic does 99 body shot damage. Like, what are you talking about? It actually might be the worst shotgun to ever enter Fortnite. Full stop.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using the only anywhere near the box, anywhere near a box, I mean, you might as well just use an SMG at that point. It is virtually unusable. If you're using it at longer range, it's actually surprisingly okay. Like if you're using it at like 4 or 5 tiles away, you can easily do 80, 90 damage, and it feels really nice to use. But I agree, in box it is the worst shotgun or box fighting, it's the worst shotgun we've ever had. And the same with the tack. Like, yeah, the tack in box is really nice, but if you don't have the reload perk or the reload boon, you know, it feels. I don't know if you've tried to box fight with that gun or fight with that gun. You cannot reload. Once
4.3 seconds reload time for the whole clip,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, so you actually just cannot.
4.3.
So you can't reload with it. And the pump, I mean, the pumps, I don't mind the pump. I think it's nice. I think the structure damage is 11's.
Oh my God.
Earthquake.
Like that.
East London, Jesus, yeah.
I think the one thing with the pump that I'm not a fan of at the moment. Oh, we're slanting.
Yo, my cam is fucked. Wait.
For any of the listeners, Levin has just had an earthquake. It looks like
Is that an
his
incident?
camera's fallen off. But the one thing about the pump shotgun, which I don't like, is the structure damage is insanely high.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit too high. With any gold pump, if they edit and reset, you can just take it back straight away. So a lot of the fight that's happened is they edit, reset, you take it. You edit, reset, they take it. And it's just doing this back and forth constantly, having a ping off, basically. But I think in general, like, I did oversay it's shit, but I do think if you find an Oni shotgun, it does feel really bad. And if you find the tack without the reload perk, it also feels really bad. The pump is definitely decent, and it's in a good state. Maybe lower structure damage.
Have
I
you?
mean, the pump's clearly better than the other two. I just don't feel like the Oni's much worse than the drum. I think they're just both bad.
They're both not good.
I think, but I think the
Kind of
Onis
feels like you're box fighting with a hunting rifle. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah, I like comparison.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that.
that's good.
It's like long, it's winded. It doesn't really do much, and it's just kind of shitty.
Yeah, handicapped. You can't replace anything with it. You're just
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah. You have to, and then you always end up shooting it by accident. You're like, oh shit, now I have one bullet left. Let me reload it. Like, you're never in a good spot.
Yeah.
The SMG, I feel like I haven't seen as much, even though I think the SMG is kind of strong as hell too. Maybe specifically the one that Demon Dojo, the one that dropped. That thing fries. Like, unbelievably fries. It's maybe even better than an AR from, like, long distance. The fire rate on it is insane. It has, like, 40 bullets in it as well. I don't know about the regular version of it, but the mythic version is literally, I think, one of the strongest weapons
Are you talking about
currently
the
in the
red
game.
dot or the?
The one that looks like a P90.
No, it's the one that drops at Demon's Dojo.
Yeah, that's the precise one with this.
Is that P90? I don't know.
No,
No,
it's
no,
the
no.
red dot.
Okay, the one with a silencer or the one without a silencer?
Right, Surgefire
Silencer.
SMG is
Yes.
the one that
Surgefire SMG,
increases.
yeah.
That one
Not
increases fire rate
the
as
one
you-
that goes faster when you shoot, not the one that goes.
So the
Not that
precision
one, no.
SMG, the red
Yeah,
dot
precision SMG. Yeah, that shit is actually busted because it has no recoil, it has no damage. It doesn't even seem like it has a damage drop off either. And that thing fries. So I'm surprised I haven't seen many people carrying it in scrims or anything because you want some sort of variety in your ammo count. Because right now one of the issues you have, at least from what I've seen in scrims, is the amount of ammo that you have.
Yeah.
Because you are playing a hit scan, you're so incentivized to just shoot at every motherfucker you see on the rotate because you're gonna hit them. So surge values are super high, so a lot of people end up running out of ammo. So surprised more people aren't carrying the SMG because I think that thing is actually legitimately very good. Or maybe the mythic one is just very good and the normal one isn't. But on the mythic one,
I think the normal is alright.
Yeah, I just want to say about the mythic one is, from what I've seen from scrims, people like the mythic one is good, but no one's killing the boss. Like if you watch any scrims, the boss is just left because it takes too long.
It's broken.
Is it
You can't kill
broken?
Yeah, you literally can't kill it in scrims.
Okay.
Oh.
I wondered why, because I obviously haven't watched teams land there, but I've seen it's always there. But if you can't kill it, that's a different thing. But I wonder if teams are going to kill it, because I don't know if the medallion's that good. It reloads it's the medallion where it auto reloads as you're going along, which is nice, but it's not like OP, like a raft coin or anything like that. And the mythic is also nice, but for how long it takes to actually kill that boss, it feels like it's probably not going to be worth it. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of games where teams just either are killing it and leaving the medallion, or just not even going to attempt to kill it at all. But I do agree that SMG is, that veiled precision SMG is insanely good.
Yeah, it is nuts. It's the gun that I keep taking, and I'm like, this gun sucks. And then because I miss every bullet with it, and then I just lose 150 HP in a second when someone sprays me with it. When you're talking about bullet drop off, I actually just checked on the Syrian just to see. It starts to bullet drop off after 28 meters, which isn't. It's just like 6 tiles, which is pretty far, like for an SMG. But it only goes down to 2/3 of the damage or something, and then it stays that way up until max distance, like 275 meters away. So for an SMG, like that actually does really good damage at range. I need to pick it up and try it more, because I've not had enough opportunities to actually try and use it at medium and close range yet, because I've just been taking the other AR because it just shreds so much.
Yeah. You try that more, I'll try the auto shot more, because I've not been using that.
No,
you guys are making it sound like it's decent. But you guys are making it sound like it's good in box.
It's good in bulk. If you're in bulk, it shreds.
But I like to get in bulk, and I'm using my new resub rolling tactics to get in box.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that could be the combo. Ooh, maybe we're cooking something.
It's the boop tactic, by the way, buddy.
Okay, all right, boop. I know. Sprites. We got sprites in the game now. We got 3 different sprites. We got the air sprite, the water sprite, the earth sprite. The air sprite is essentially like a launch pad that you pick up and you can only use once, and then you
leave them behind.
If you use it and you leave them behind, you can't use them. But yet they drop in groups of 3 for some reason. So yeah, that's interesting. You got the water sprites as well, which are, I think, everyone's favorite thing right now around the map, because so much healing around the map. They give you 30 health instantly, and then they tick for another how much did they tick? I can't.
Another 20.
Another 20 then. Cool, nice.
Total, yeah.
And then you get 3 of them, and you have to pick it up and cycle through. And the earth sprite, which I didn't notice until one of my games yesterday evening, where essentially there's some of them around the map, and you give them a weapon, and they give you back a weapon. And I only used it once, and I gave it a shitty weapon, and it gave me back a gold gun. I was like, oh shit.
I think it always gives you back gold.
Yeah,
it's guaranteed legendary. Yeah.
That's lit.
I don't know if there's I only literally same as you. I only saw one yesterday. And I was like, I've not tested this enough to see if it always gives you a gold, because I gave it a blue pump and it gave me a gold pump. I was like, holy shit, this is OP. And then DJ put one in. He put the hollow AR in, and it gave him a gold fury back. He was like, I've been scammed.
Oh, no.
Right? It's like, so I don't know, maybe he fucked up, but I need to do more tests. But this thing looks unreal.
You can use it once, I believe. One person per map can use it to get a legendary gun. I think.
You can use it more. You can use it more.
Really?
I've seen, because
I used on it.
it
Come back later when you use it.
Yeah, I've definitely used it before, because I used it. I was playing ranked, and I used it. My teammate used it, but he put in a shotgun. He got an AR back, and I was like, well, now I have no shotgun left, so I've just been scammed even more. But they are the rarest thing on the map. Out of anything on the map, the Earth Sprite is the rarest thing to find.
Do they always spawn in the same place, or is it random?
No, random. So what you can do to find them more easily is you can, the shrines you can go to reveal. You can go to it and reveal. And you can reveal the sprites. It will reveal an Earth Sprite if it's in the area. It's just they're so rare that basically you never find them, right? But I do think with the sprites, I think it's cool, the whole shrine thing. If you guys don't know, if you probably do know, it's if you take one of the sprites, whether the air sprite or the water sprite, and you take it back to the shrine, you can put it back, you can basically return it to the shrine, and it will give you the boon of the sprite. So if you put in the water sprite, you get the water boon. If you put in the air sprite, you get the air boon, which is the air one is the faster sprint speed or walking speed with your pickaxe out. And the water one is if you're in water, you swim quicker and you heal your teammates and yourself in there.
Which doesn't work.
Yeah, which is really buggy. It's
right
like
now,
if the water's in storm and has been in storm, then it doesn't work around the map. But it's like all the water's connected, all the rivers connected. So it's like as soon as one bit's in storm, the rest doesn't work because it works in the early
it doesn't. Yeah, I was gonna say I used that and it worked, but it doesn't work later on.
Yeah, it doesn't work when like it's kind of like if you remember back near Brawlers where like if the healing lake had been installed, you couldn't use it. It's the same thing, but it's like if a river down the south is connected, the water at the north doesn't work because it's all been installed.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so it's really buggy at the moment.
Okay.
But it's really good because you can go and you can get a boon, whatever boon you want guaranteed every single game. You get a purple gun from it. And if you put the water one in, you get a heal back. So you get big pop, med kit, whatever. And if you put the air one in, I don't know if this is intentional, you get 4 shockwaves back. Now, and that is in competitive, even though the shockwaves you can't get from anything else. So it is nice if you don't have mobility. I wonder if they're going to change that for something else later on because it does feel a bit weird. You can get shockwaves there and literally nowhere else on the map. But it's cool. I think the whole sprite thing is really nice. As you did say, Levin, the whole you throw an air sprite down and you can't pick it back up, and it's like, well, what's the point in carrying it now? It's a bit weird. But if you could pick it back up and it like left the tornado for like 5 seconds or something, that would be really good. Because I've seen some people use it for endgame, and it feels really nice to get from backside to front side and gain loads of elevation with it.
Yeah,
I think on that, the problem is I feel like it might be hard to justify carrying, especially so in solos. Like obviously we got big solo cash cows. There's no point in carrying an air sprite at all because you can use the blade, which may have current bugged mobility, but you can use it for mobility anyway, or you can use the void mask wherever it is. So there's no point using the air sprite. But in trios, there's not currently any trio mobility options because every mobility option is for solos only. So the air sprite has some viability, but then the question is it worth taking up an entire inventory slot on one of your 3 people for that when you can't pick it back up again afterwards?
Yeah, it's not worth.
It's also in competitive, the likelihood of you getting a katana and a void mask is very high.
Yes.
You can see how many shockwaves you get in like a ranked game, like a shit ton, right? All of those spawns are basically replaced by void mask spawns and katana spawns in competitive. So if looking at trio scrims yesterday, every trio had at least 1 katana or 2 void masks or 3 void masks or 3 katanas. There was not any sort of games where nobody had any sort of movement. So at that point, you're just not even picking up the air sprite because it's pointless. You'd rather have the good mobility. Speaking of, I feel like there's some viability in the other movement sense of not only using 3 katanas, because katanas feel like the most obvious choice to use for rotation because they're further, they're consistent. You can't get boxed randomly because when you're using a void thing, you get boxed randomly. But I'd love to see the variety because there's so many things you can do with void mask that are so intricate and so like strategic that I think the meta might be 2 swords and 1 void mask.
It's a weird one because it's kind of like going through scrims, like, and you watch them and you watch a game and like, oh, void mask is so broken. Like the things you can do with it is really nice. Whether it's you leave it and you go do something, you come back. Even the smallest thing of like leaving it in your search base, going and refarming, you get in a sticky situation, you void mask back to your search base. That's just a nice thing to do, right? And there's so many things like that for refreshes or even for height takes with the void mask. There's a lot of nice things you can do, but then you watch a game with the katana and it's like, wow, this looks so easy. You just triple katana and you set up either the wall edit or with the cone and set up a low pad with it, and you just katana to front side and you're like, wow, this is so much more consistent. But I think if I'm trying to think what will end up being, I think Void Mask will just be better, because I think the more you get used to lineups, because with Mask, if you can do lineups similar to grenades, you set up and you do a percentage and you throw it, you'll end up in a similar area. Because right now, all people are doing is get to the front side, and one throws it like all the way in the sky, one person throws it straight, and you're 50 meters away from each other using all your shield and heals.
Yeah.
But I think when people get used to it and practice it and figure out like the comms around it and how to set it up, I feel like the Void Mask, just as you said, Boop, there's so many cool things you can do setting up flanks in fights or setting up positioning in endgame. I feel like the Void Mask will be better, but we have to see about the Katana as well, as you said, the movement, if it's bugged or not, because we'll get onto later on, but there's a lot of momentum things at the moment which look a bit buggy with it.
I think the main issue with, so what you said, right, people will learn how to use a Void Mask properly. I think the biggest problem is that also people will just learn how to counter it properly too.
True.
Because if you think about the way that you've got to use it, so in mid games, completely different, right? Because one thing I've been doing so far is, here's a tip for anyone if you want to learn how to do it on a good rotate. If you shoot it like roughly an angle where it'll be as like far possible as you can, if you count to 4, by the time you count to 4 seconds and you teleport, it's maybe like 20 meters above the ground or something like that. So, if you count to 2.5, 3, you'll be at like almost the peak height of it, which means you'll fall and people can beam you as you fall. It's kind of easy to predict. But if you wait until you're just about to land, which is usually 4 seconds, then you basically have the highest chance of surviving. If you wait any longer, people can box it, pre-fire you, all that kind of stuff. So the 4-second rule is useful. However, because you can throw it so far, what that actually will look like in endgame, and what it does look like in endgames, is that you have to stay on a relatively good layer. So say if you're staying up relatively high and you want to throw it upwards, then to try and make it land somewhere, you can figure out ways where you can time it properly, where you're like, I know I could land in the next moving zone, or while you're in a zone, you can throw it into where the next zone's going to spawn way ahead of time, play a bunch, and then just teleport later once the zone opens up, or pre-claim it. There's a bunch of stuff like that, but for most people, if they're just going to shoot it straight up, fight teams are just going to watch you and just be like, I'm just going to create a bunch of floors, catch you on it, and then that's it, right? Or if you're... Yeah, exactly. Or you can just, you can see them coming down. You can catch them. I've already seen a clip of it. Or if you're like trying to be on a good layer and you're trying to throw it downwards, like directly forwards, A, super easy to get blocked. B, super easy to get it boxed. It's like there's a lot of like counterplay that you can do to it that makes it not that great in endgame sometimes. So I'm interested to see what the actual strats will end up being, but it seems very counterable.
It's like I said, I think the value of it is in one player being the flex player in your trios, like the guy that you can rely on being able to survive and get out of shitty situations. Like the clicks of your trio is the one that's carrying the Void Mass. The other two are carrying katanas, because you have to have that Void Mass to, like you said, to find refreshes in Storm, to run down, to move back up again, to find flank plays. A bunch of different things are necessary. The katanas itself are more reliable, and like you said very correctly as well, is your layering is very important to the Void Mass. If you're anyone low ground, you're not using that thing because you're gonna get stuck. It's gonna hit other builds. Also, it's impossible to accurately predict where you're gonna put your thing. From scrims yesterday, people were throwing it super high in the air, and then they either teleport near height and then they get beamed, or like you said, they're like 30 minutes into Storm, 30 meters into Storm, so they're like super far ahead of everybody else. So I don't think it's consistent enough as a movement item to make it justifiable, but as a single flex player, being able to Void Mask in your own box, run back in the Storm, or Void Mask down, get loot, Void Mask back up, or things like that, I think makes it really good. The one thing that some people haven't noticed, though, is you don't actually take a charge if you shoot it. You only take a charge when you teleport. So you can do a lot of different plays by like baiting out your Void Mask, shooting it in one area, making people react to the way you Void Mask. I think there's a lot of potential for it, and one of the main things I haven't seen yet is people pinging something they want to Void Mask to, lining up 80% on their ping so that they have the perfect high ground retake, for example. Stuff like that, I think, is very cool and probably will be explored very soon as well.
Yeah, I had like a similar problem to what you're talking about, where I found myself like chucking it ahead too far, and obviously I'm terrible at the game, so that's a given. But like I found myself like going past where I thought I was gonna teleport to because it's like gone past. But that last point you mentioned was what I was going to say. Like, I had that happen to me where a guy faked me out, where he, like, chucked one, and I heard it, so I'm like, okay, he's about to go off somewhere, right? And then it was a full bait, because I turned to look to, like, shoot him, and then he just, like, fucking edited back out on me, and I was like, oh, shit. And then I started doing that to people, and every time, like, people are just not expecting you to not teleport, or, like, they see your teleports and they think you're going somewhere, and then you can just teleport somewhere else. Like, it's really... Like, there's a lot of things you can do with this, which are really fun. I'm a big fan of the Oni mask. It's funny because, we always used to make jokes about how, like, Epic just low-key will just copy other games, and make it, like, better in a lot of cases. But they'll, like, take some shit from Apex or some shit, or, they'll take some shit from somewhere. And I'm like, why did it take so long to just copy from Minecraft? We got ender pearls after 7 years of the game. It took you so bloody long. Like, even the wall sliding shit and like the kicking off thing. Anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, like, I'm glad they added this Oni mask stuff into the game. It's really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's I pressed the hand before you. No, there was one thing as we were talking there. I came up with the actual strat to get rid of all of that shit I just talked about. Right, you tarp frontside once, and then every single time you just Oni mask into Storm ahead of you, and then spray everyone backside, kill them when zone catches up. You just teleport frontside again, so you're not have to risk throwing it and land it on someone. Boom. FNtasia listeners, now you know the fucking gas. Go do well in the divisional cups.
Yeah, I mean, what this always come down to, what it's all basically we're saying is there's risk reward to the mobility, and there's decisions you have to make, which is what all we want in a mobility meta. Whether it's, you know, the fizz we had last season, or last chapter, where you didn't you had some risk to it. It's the same this season. It's like whatever you decide to use, whether it's the katana and you have to like set up the exploit to get to front side and correctly, and if you do it wrong, you're gonna get beamed. Or whether it's, you know, the Oni masks and you're gonna get griefed if you don't correctly set it up, and you're too split, or you put it down for too long and the team's just waiting for you to land. There's risk involved, which means there's skill involved, which therefore makes it way more enjoyable at a higher level to watch, because you'll see the teams that adapt to it quicker than the others. They're all speechless.
Yeah. No. All right. Well, those are good. We also got new movement. New movement features. We got ledge jumping, we got roll landing, wall kicking, wall scrambling, a bunch of new movement. And, you know, we've seen over the past couple of years them slowly roll out new movement features. Last time they made a big movement overhaul, it was not very well received initially. But this time around, people seem to really be enjoying the new movement, and it feels like there's a lot you can do with the new movement. We'll break them down sort of one by one. Ledge jumping, essentially ledge jumping allows you to parkour. Oh, let me read this description here that someone's so nicely written out. Jump while sprinting very close to a ledge. Be it a cliff or a rooftop, you'll perform a ledge jump. Ledge jumps will send you farther, allowing you to reach places you normally wouldn't be able to. Hit a ledge jump with some speed for serious hang time. I keep finding myself doing this while like 1v1 and build fighting. Like I'm like jumping off to like, and it's great. Like it's amazing. Yeah. It's so good.
Best thing, you gotta call this the Soo jump every single time DJ does this. He just goes, it's like, you know, you do a sprinting side jump, and every single time I just hear Soo.
That's class. I like that. Then we got roll landing. Keep it moving. Chapter 6 introduces roll landing. We're holding jump or tapping it just before hitting the ground while falling will cause you to do a barrel roll, restoring some stamina in the process. Helps you with fall damage. You can do some freaky shit with movement, and like it makes you very hard to dodge. I found the one that I found really weird that I did accidentally, and I didn't realize you can do this, is you can do it backwards. And that really fucks with people. When you do the roll landing backwards, it's like they've seen a ghost. They don't know what, it discombobulates everybody. Then we also got wall kicking, which essentially is what I was talking about before. It's a mechanic we've seen in plenty of games in the past. Essentially, you jump off of a wall and you kick off of it to the opposite side. And you can do 3 of them in a row, then you get a fatigue, but there's also a way to cheat the fatigue. But yeah, you can do 3 of them back to back to back. And then we have wall scrambling, which allows you to sort of jump vertically up walls higher than before. You can like sort of scramble your way up the wall and get a bit more than the typical mantle distance. What do you make of the new movement, boys?
It is sick. I love it. There is actually a ton of box fighting potential with this kind of stuff. I posted a clip where I basically walked through a bunch of the kind of stuff that we've done, and this here is kind of a combination of the wall jumps, the what's it called, the wall, is the wall kick where you're kicking off and combining that with the scramble. Now this is my mechanics, so you know, some of the middest clips of all time. Yeah. But see, like here, I just wrote like DJ. That is so hard to see. Like from the other person's perspective, when you roll past them, it's so difficult to see. And in particular, if you're on their right and you roll past them to the left, you cross over their character model, and because you're doing it so fast, it is so difficult to hit you. Like these clips don't have audio, but DJ repeatedly said to me, we were just messing around trying this kind of stuff, he was like, it's actually so hard to hit someone doing that. So obviously, you know, you could do some dumb stuff, like some of those weren't like great plays, but it's more the case point where as you're doing that, it's really, really difficult to actually get hit.
So some of the interesting thing about this, I think a lot of pros refuse to try to adapt because I posted a clip of like some peanut butter edit shit. Like, and what is the best edit thing, right?
Say what you've been calling it, mate.
No, that's something else. That's something else. Hold on, I'll get to that part though. This is just a simple like karate jump into a peanut butter peak, and then it was like a peak, and everyone's like, no one's ever gonna use that. No one's ever gonna use that. But there's so much tech involved that you can do with these things now. Like I literally saw Raider doing new 90s, which is basically 2 walls in once on a 90. Like that's probably gonna be the new standard, right? If you can do that pretty intentionally and pretty easy and very quickly compared to the regular 90s, because you have double elevation changes. So things like that are going to constantly evolve and bring the skill gap over and over and over, higher and higher and higher. That I think I like it. Like I thought it was going to ruin the game, but at the same time, I think adding another level to box fighting is very cool. A lot of the casuals might not enjoy it, but I think I want to see what the maximum is, right? Because games like Apex Legends, for example, you've got good players in Apex Legends, but then you have those freaks who have like the best movement possible, and you can't hit these motherfuckers because they're like sliding across, doing double backflips, things like that. So in Fortnite, you have that equivalent of that type of player. I think it'd be very interesting to see where it can go and what pros can come up with, because obviously they are not as handicapped as I am and Resub is. For what they can do, and the minds are larger to explore for things like that.
I think the key thing that I've learned from other games is that there will be a lot of crazy things that you can do that will probably actually be like practical, like you can actually apply them in game and it's not like far-fetched. Like some of the peaks like in your clip, Reese, like I can see people doing it and that becoming somewhat normal. But what we're gonna see is people get freaked, and I've already seen it. Like I saw some like Asian kid, like he posted like a clip where I was like, if this is gonna become anywhere near normal, we are screwed. All people like me are screwed. Because I'm just like I'm getting phased the fuck out. But what I've learned from other games is that a long time
ago, Levin. Sorry to interrupt.
I've been phased out for. I've been getting phased out for a while. Yeah. The thing is though that I've noticed from a lot of other games is that usually like it's, at the pro level it sort of balances out. Like you don't really ever see like the crazy things. The pros are capable of it, but a lot of the times it's not like needed. Even we already have that now. Like the things you see like the 1v1 creative kids doing in build fights are never things that are applicable or reasonable to do in game, you know? And I think it will be somewhat similar to the movement where there'll be some things that genuinely people should start doing and trying to like learn, because I think they'll be decent and it will be good because it's like the Martos thing, you know? Like whenever I watch a Martos video, like he'll do something where you're like, if he did that on me, I would have got caught out because you're just not expecting it. Like it's good and you're not expecting it because nobody does it. And like a lot of the new movement stuff I think will work with that. Whereas like there'll be a lot of it where it's like you ain't gonna be doing all that, bro. Like,
no,
just edit the wall, bro. Like you're good.
Just shoot him, bro. I think like the one difference that you mentioned there between you see people doing stuff in creative where it's not really applicable is that a lot of that is server dependent, right? Where it's like the laggier it is, the harder it is to do. Whereas with this movement stuff, it's the opposite, because the laggier it is, the harder it is to hit you whilst you're doing them because of you know things like desync and whatever. And the faster you move, the essentially the more benefit you get from desync, regardless of the ping, the peaks you have or not. So I agree with like the crazy stuff almost definitely is going to be done, but I feel like the actual techers of this are going to be implemented in a really good way. And actually, it's, as me and Dieter messing with it yesterday, he did a really nice clip with it where there was a player walking to him like round a wall, which was a right hand peak to him, and he just wall kick and like slid and rolled like right past him, and the guy was just like turned the other direction, and you know you just scroll right past him and he has no clue because you're almost like jumping over his head and doing it. So it's just small things like that, like the little wall, like when you're scuffed, like having no match, those little techers that once people get good and implement them into their game, like I think I can see these actually being applicable, unlike some of the other movement mechanics. Like, you know, some of those don't really, like mantling. Mantling didn't really increase the skill gap in fighting. If anything, it just gave shit players an easy chance to get pumped because they're just going to try to scramble up or scramble up to people's heads and you get an easy shot on them when they do it. But like these, I think actually increase the skill gap a lot.
Yeah, and look, the casual community might not like it. Maybe they do like the movement, but increasing the skill ceiling is healthy to keep the game positive and keep the competitive scene going, right? If you kept it with the same movement consistently for a long period of time, like if you go back and watch the game without tack sprinting, right? It feels so slow. Like fighting feels slow, rotating feels slow, and actually just in endgame it all just feels slow. All these new movement things allow people to just do new exciting things. It allows people to try and test out and try and burst or like increase the skill ceiling of the game and make it more fun, right? And as you guys were saying, in a year's time from now, it's going to be the normal. All these sort of rolling in box, wall kicking in box, it's all going to be the normal. And that's exciting for me because seeing the game develop constantly is always enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. You got to adapt to the game, adapt to the meta. But it feels like Epic are trying to help people adapt and change and improve, because not only did we get new movement, we got some new editing features. Simple edit has been added to the game. We now have the ability to completely skip a select. Everyone's familiar with editing. You open up the editing tile, select the tiles you want to edit to create the edit you want to make, and then confirm it. But in recent history, they made it so that you didn't have to confirm. You could just release and then confirm. But now you can just skip the whole selecting tile stage completely. No more selecting tiles. Yeah. Now with simple edit, you just look at what you're trying to edit. Depending on where you look, Epic has just preset sort of like different edits that are possible. It will make the edit for you, and it looks fucking cool. It's caused some debate. I've seen a lot of debate on this one on social media so far. What did you guys think of simple editing?
So I want to get in before Reese, because I know Reese has got a lot of opinions on this. So because you've probably used it the most out of anyone. I think for me, the first thing I want to say is it is good for the lower skill players. I do think it's a really nice thing to have, and it can allow them to feel like allow them to play better without actually having to go through all the editing process and learning all that sort of stuff, right? My opinion is it ruins the fun of the game. Like, part of the fun of the game for me is the whole editing, it's the whole piecing someone up. It generally looks, it's crazy. It looks like macros for a lot of it, right? It generally looks insane how some of the things people can do. But on the other side as well, I think if it ever gets allowed in tournaments and things like that, I still don't think it's better than just normal editing. Now, the reason why I don't think this is I think there's a bunch of clunky things with it. For example, resetting rules. You lose scroll or reset, which if you speak to any controller player about it, they think it's the most OP thing added to the game, right? So you lose scroll or resetting. You also lose the ability, and it's such a small thing, but it's like even scouting through your code. You can't scout through your code anymore, which is an annoying thing to do, right? There's so many just clunky things or tiny, small things that don't work with the simple editing, which I feel like will be really annoying to play with. And in general, I feel like it would be better to just not do that. However, I think it's just a good thing to have in the game. I think it's good for a lot of people. A lot of people will end up using it, and it helps them improve their mechanics without having to sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours and have to grind like edit maps and all that sort of stuff. Still, it takes some skill, don't get me wrong, but it's obviously a lot easier than it is to just sit there and do normal editing. But I think it's at a point right now where it's still worse than normal editing, but I think if they try and tweak it a little bit too much and make it a little bit better, we could be in a problematic situation.
So I agree and I disagree, because I have flipped back and forth since they've actually made a change. So let me tell everyone how they've already patched it, because when it was originally released, it was instant. So you press one edit and literally milliseconds, depending on however your ping is, insta edits. However, if you tried to select another edit after that, so if you're going to edit a cone and then a floor, like if you're going to do a double edit, there was maybe like a 50, 100, 20, 200, I don't know, millisecond delay. So it felt really clunky trying to do like double edits and things. Since that, they have changed that and they've completely removed it. And that change alone has made it insanely fast. Like, there are clips of people like falling down. I can't remember what we've included here.
I just saw one of those.
There's clips of like people just falling down, double editing, and it's equally as fast to fall down and double edit as it is just to fall. Like, it is the most insane macro possible. So you say there's a lot of downsides to it, and I agree, Harry. There is, like, not being able to scout through cone. Scroll reset is slightly slower. You can actually do it relatively quickly if you remove like the actual the reset button from your scroll wheel and just put like edit, because it's just now the same edit button. But it is still slower than that. I will be honest though, when I was messing with it, because I spent like 2 hours last night doing it, and this is when it was slow, the main thing I noticed about it is how good your crosshair placement is. People say your crosshair placement is bad, right? Because of course, as you hit an edit, your crosshair has to be in the specific part of the wall. So if I'm going to do a top right, this is the one we were mentioning. Look how fast this is.
This
Yeah,
is
this is with scroll wheel.
insane.
If you
Yeah,
scroll,
yeah.
insane.
Exactly. Now, obviously, that's not very applicable, but there's just to show how broken it can be. But if you say, for example, you want to edit a peanut butter edit, you've got to look at the top right of your wall and you just click edit. The thing is, people are saying it's really bad for crosshair placement because, you have to put your crosshair up there and then click edit and you're immediately in the open. However, you don't have the downside of flicking your crosshair across the whole time. So as you're looking into that top right to edit, your crosshair's moving very small amount. You can actually just watch the opponent way easier because your crosshair's not like flying all over the place, if that makes sense. So there's less like eye motion blur essentially. And what I found so far is the piece control that you can do with it, because you're just A, doing less clicks, but B, because you're way more controlled with where your mouse is, it's so easy to look at top right, edit cones and full box someone immediately after that. And sure, like it might be a little bit clunkier for like some movements and things like that, but I think piece and crosshair placement is 10x easier on that. Like if you actually start to get used to it, you'll realize that I would be 100% honest, that is not a worse setting. If that is in comp, that is the meta. I'll be absolutely honest. Like it is that much better if you start to get used to it. You'll see exactly what I mean.
I'm still a bit split on some parts of it. With the change in delay, I think it's way better than I initially thought it would be.
Definitely.
The one thing for me when I was playing around with it, the one thing for me that I found just so insanely good compared to like just normal for most average players is insta editing. Oh my god, like you can just stare at someone with your shotgun and just press E and there's no like in box fighting, disguise is like a big part of like what makes a good box fight versus not a good box fight, right? Being able to like actually hide your intention and make a decision. Whereas now just, the fact that the shittest player can just like not even give you any sort of hint that he's gonna make an edit and make the edit and then shoot you instantly is like so annoying to like fight against. It's interesting that's not in comp. I think that was very clear sort of decision from them in terms of like who this is for and what the intention of it is, right? It's clearly something that is meant to give worse players a better platform to be able to perform and like keep up. However, they've tuned it to where like given to the better players, it feels like it's just like so much better. Like I don't know, like it feels weird. You know what I mean? Like I feel like initially how it was almost more balanced for the intention of like it's something that like crapper players can use when playing just regular pubs to like actually be somewhat alright. And if you're a better player, it's just not worth it. Whereas like I don't think any pros will switch. Of course, it's not in competitive, right? So like never any pros gonna switch. But like actual better players who play like the game more casually, I actually think for a lot of those types of people, it might still even be worth considering switching. There's like a question to be had there. Like it's actually like worth thinking about. I personally still feel like editing is just better. You're just having more control. It's even the same reason why like, I know obviously, fucking Peterbot and shit use like edit on release, but I still feel like just the original normal way of editing for most people is just better. Like you learn more control, you have to think more about what you're doing, and like there's more intention in your actions that way. And I feel like a lot of people are just gonna like switch on simple edit and just spam and like not really have a clue what they're doing, but it's still working because it's so good, So like I had someone who I know is like learning to like build and improve about the game and whatnot. And they asked me like, is this worth using? And I was like, learn the normal way. And then maybe down the line, you might decide, actually, I want to switch, but like you should still learn the normal way to play the game.
This is one of those things that you're going to play a game of ranked and some motherfucker's going to whip out an insta edit and you're just not going to be able to see it. And it's just like 30 FPS console and just one pumps you, Like one of those things where those kids are going to be doing well for it. Something for my 6-year-old parents, Like they're the ones that can be using some smart edits. I completely disagree with Reese when he says it could be the meta. Like even if they added it to actual competitive, there's no way it's better than regular editing because it's basically a no mistake kind of editing playstyle. You make the wrong edit, the reset's not fast enough to stop it. And also, if you're in like a pressure situation where you're getting boxed and ramped, there's a lot of things you can't do because let's say you're trying to hold a wall, you have to like look down to hold a wall. So you can't do a bunch of things where you have to like quick flick up and edit and reset it and things like that. Also on top of that, like you can't do like specific cone edits. You can't look out of your cone on top of it also, which is I think a very vital part of competitive is looking out of your cone to rotate, right? So things like that I think makes it virtually impossible to make it actually possible for competitive. On top of that, if they made it so that you can regular edit and you can like macro specific edits, then that shit's absolutely busted because then you can use it in combination. But just by itself, I think there's too many things that can go wrong and will go wrong if you just use it.
I just highly disagree with what you just said. So here's the thing. I feel like what you guys are saying a lot of the time shows me you have not tried it yet. Like, literally, if you try it for like 2 hours, you will realize what you just said is not true at all. There are, like, sure, like, you can't look through cones. Absolutely. Reset is a little slower. Those are genuine drawbacks. Mm-hmm. But in terms of, like, edit selection of ones that you actually, like, can't do, it's like you can't edit the two side windows that you can't do in a wall, for example. You can't edit, like, bottom right threes and bottom left threes, which are edits you probably don't want to do anyway. And, like, being close to walls and not having, like, the ability to, like, do whatever edit you want also just isn't true because your crosshair still has to go to that same point if you're going to edit like a regular tile regardless, right? It's like all of those things are basically just non-factors if you try it and actually use it. Like I don't think it's going to be, say if it does get allowed in tournaments, as we said it's not currently, I don't think it's going to be like game breaking for the pros or anything like that. I don't see a lot of pros switching, but I think there will be a lot of people this would be the meta. Like, if this was enabled in tournaments right now, I would switch to it and be able to actually maybe give it an even better, like, something like for account of if it is better or where it is worse. But all of the things where people are saying it's worse, I'm yet to actually see that be applicable. And all of the upsides of like being 10x easier to edit, crosshair placement being better, less buttons to push, less to mess up at the same time, being able to hold your left click at all times while placing builds and piecing immediately after without having to like take it off to click to edit as most people would. There are so many upsides to it where I don't see all of the negatives outweighing that right now. And I think there's a reason it's not allowed is because it fucking could be crazy juiced where people would kind of have like nuts mechanics on it really easily.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a player who either only plays ranked, plays either like the rank cups, the OG cups, the more less stacked games, right? If you're playing less stacked games or pub, you're a pub stomp or whatever, or even just a worse player, I think simple edit is for you. Everything you're saying, Reese, is for just specifically fighting and specifically mechanics, it is better. If you're a worse player, that is how it is, right? 100%. Crosshair placement, everything like that. The not being able to look through cones, that actually would drive me insane. I actually think that would drive me purely insane, not being able to scout rotates or anything like that. And if you're going to say you could edit, reset a wall, it's obviously completely different, like in a later game, right? So I just think if you're someone who's just focused, even like a creative, you just love playing creative, you love playing ranked, you love playing the smaller cups, yeah, go to simple edit probably. Or it depends on, obviously, also depends on enjoyment. If you think it's more fun or less fun or whatever, right? If you're someone who's more, obviously, it's not even in tournaments now, but if it does get added to tournaments, I just think the more stacked games you get into, I just think the slightly worse it gets. But we have to wait and see, obviously.
I like how Reese says it's not that's good. I disagree completely. But the main core thing in competitive, look it out of your cone, you can't do. Yeah. That's it. Like just that even
that's not the core part of competitive.
How else are you gonna rotate? What do you mean? How else are you gonna rotate?
So it is very important. I'm not saying it's not important, but like, you ever fucking maxed piece 200 someone boot? No, that's fucking way more important. That's way more important than sitting out into the cone.
Scout rotate, just full pieces on while starting. That's what you're going to become.
That's what I'm going to be doing, bro. I'm shooting everyone to rotate full
even
piece.
If they made it like even like 50 times better, the fact you can't look out of your cone, I think is like the biggest deal break. But further apart from that, I agree with you that like to a certain level, it's a nice niche way to get up to speed to like a baseline level of like editing and doing things like that. I think once you elevate into the upper echelons, I don't think like a single pro would ever use this. I think the level that you're capping it as is the player that's actually trying out right now, Faxity. Faxity is like full locked in on that shit. So like, so we have Faxity and Resub using it. So like that's the sort of baseline level.
Why is he using it?
Because he's in controller and it's easier to like edit on controllers. for
But is
that.
he
You
just
press a button.
resigning to playing tournaments now? He's like, I'm just not playing tournaments
No,
anymore.
he's begging everyone to like. He's like,
Yeah.
please get this in tournaments, please. I need to
Oh,
use it.
brilliant.
It's so OP. That's more what it is. It's not like he's not using it.
I'll be honest. I don't think it's gonna like. The fact that they didn't make it available in tournaments is clearly a very intentional decision. The only way they would ever not allow it to be in tournaments, I think, is if they saw, because they obviously have the stats for everything. If they could see that a large amount of people are using this, I think maybe it'd sway them a bit. But even then, maybe it wouldn't even. Maybe the decision's just like, nah, we don't want this in competitive modes. I agree with what you're saying, Reese. I actually have used it. Like, I genuinely have used it in creative, like a bunch. I've spent most of my time of the new season in creative, messing around in 1v1s with it and without it. And what I found is that, like, you just have to think a bit differently about how you're playing. Like, it's not like if you just think how you would normally play and then use it, you're gonna run into the situations you're saying, Boop, where like it feels a bit awkward and you're like, wait, I can't do this. Oh no, this is terrible. Like, whereas like I feel like you just have to change a bit, like not even a lot, just like a bit about how you think about how you're building and editing, and then it's actually like feels somewhat normal. And then obviously if you're not, I would not. Like if right now a like pro was like, hey, come 1v1 me, I'm dead anyway, right? So ignore that. I get your jokes and yeah, you'd lose anyway. I would feel worse using the simple edit, I think. Now, like against an actual good player, I think I'd feel worse using the simple edit versus the regular editing. But maybe that would change in a year's time if I'm using it a bunch more. But yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's good though. I think it's really good.
I think there's so Harry actually mentioned a really good point to start this whole thing off, and that's actually a kind of way I want to curtail this conversation for a second. Whereas, it doesn't feel like Fortnite, right? It takes a little bit of that off. Now, this is an interesting conversation, and I think I'm probably going to do a full ramble on my extra channel about this. But is making building and editing easier a bad thing? I have a lot of like points for and against in this side, right? But say for editing, this is making it easier. And it's increasing the speed of the average person, you could say, if this was applied everywhere, right? I kind of think about it similarly to the way that turbo building was added, and it made things much faster. You could say it reduced the skill gap or increased, depending on how you look at it in multiple different ways. But is it a good thing or a bad thing if building becomes easier and therefore faster overall?
Is it a good? I don't know. It's not about like the whole faster thing is a different conversation to actually like. It doesn't feel like you're editing. That like from obviously I haven't used it as much as you have, right? Maybe you can disagree with that.
Oh, it doesn't. It feels like you're actually cheating. Like it's
yeah, that's
crazy.
what I was about to say. It doesn't feel like you're actually like editing, which that's more my problem. Whether it's more or less fun, that doesn't matter to me. Does it actually feel like I'm playing Fortnite? Now that depends person to person. For me personally, I don't like it. I don't like this the way it is. But this is why I'm kind of happy. It's obviously not in tournaments. I'd rather something stayed out of tournaments till they got it perfect and how they wanted it, and then added it to tournaments to how it is now. If you want my answer, I don't think it's a good thing. But that's not to do with the speed. It's to do with how it looks and it feels like you're cheating.
I think it's good if building and editing gets easier. I think if we had the mentality that it wasn't good, then it wouldn't be anywhere near where it is now. Because even the small changes they've made to it over time have gotten us to this point where it feels how it feels now. What feels like Fortnite changes and evolves. You know, you ask someone who only played Chapter 1 what feels like Fortnite, they're going to tell you something completely different to someone who played now, right?
Yeah.
So that to me is just a bit like it changes person to person what feels like Fortnite. I will say though that building and editing becoming easier and so therefore faster, I think you're never gonna even the playing field, and that shouldn't be the goal. But if in a world where like the average Jimmy can average fast, edit fast, and build fast versus a pro player, the pro player is still gonna be faster. But even then, if the difference is smaller, then the differences come elsewhere. Yes, and I think that's a good thing, because that's where like that's a type of skill gap that I think like becomes more interesting. And then maybe not everyone agrees, but like that's a different type of skill gap that I find interesting. Like, sure, someone can build and edit faster than you, but that's not ever really been the difference maker in who's the best player.
No.
So it's like the advantages come in other places, and so there will always be advantages that come in other places, and so I don't think there's a problem with that at all.
I think lowering the initial speed bump to get to like an average level of editing is always a good thing. I think one of the things that Fortnite has as an issue as an esport always is relatability as a player, right? Like I'm seeing Flixie do 700, 360 edits and triple edits and drop downs and stuff, and I can't recreate that, right? I can recreate double edits and triple edits to some extent. I have like an average, maybe above average level set, but for the average person that's probably watching competitive, they can't do those things. So if they get into a game and they're doing simple edits and it kind of looks and it feels like you're being fast, that's not a bad thing, because you know they're gonna feel like they're a part of that community now because they're on a standard level of building. So I think that's a good thing. I don't think I'd actually be curious to see how many people actually end up using it, because if it's not allowed in tournaments, it also means you can't use it in skin cups. And if we're talking about the average base level of player, well, if these guys are using it to like play ranked and that's their competitive in that sense, they're still gonna want to play skin cups, so they probably won't know, oh shit, I can't use this in skin cups anymore. So I think at some point they'll probably let it happen. I think the main thing right now is they wanted to test exactly how broken it is, because you don't know. Like in theory, it's edit macros, right? And adding the macros to the game, oh my god, that's controversial. You can see the response to all the tweets everyone's made about it. It's a lot of people like, oh my god, why are they adding this? Why are they making all the players better? But then when you look at it more deeply, it's not ever going to be as good or comparatively to regular editing or the high skill level. If you resub, you may disagree, but from my perspective, I think that it just never will be that level. But for an average player, they're still going to have that sense of them feeling good about themselves and feeling like they're a part of a mechanical player base now.
Yeah.
When you say it'll never be that level, do you mean it will never be like widely like the general populace? Because like I could 100% see in like a year's time, if they're like, I could see like one of the best players in the world being like a simple editor, and everyone's like, see, look, see, he's proof that simple editing stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, or do you just mean like everyone? Like you don't think any pro could ever be like at a pro level with simple editing on?
I think you could. You don't need to be mechanical in this game. I think that you could have. There might be one or two players that are simple edit pros if they ever end up adopting into competitive. I seriously doubt it. I think speed in certain things, like obviously resetting, like I said, but the other thing is switching edit. So without having to, so if you window edit, you have to reset and then re-edit. Not being able to right-click to reselect another edit, I think is one of the most crucial skills as a Fortnite player. Being able to reselect edits for different situations. So stuff like that, I think is baseline super, super important in like fast-paced end games. I can see it being okay in solos. Like a solo end game, you're not doing some crazy shit, maybe. But I'd be very surprised if like if an FNtasia grand finalist is a simple editor. Maybe in trios, but like, I don't know.
This is what I wanted to ask.
We got a global championship qualifier only using scroll wheel, mate. So
yeah, that's true. Scroll through builds,
but he can still do everything though. He's still crazy with it.
I get what you're saying. I'm just like,
I just wanted to quickly ask. So let's say, for example, you take a tier 1 pro. Take whatever tier 1 pro you want in this aspect, right? If they start using simple editing, do they get better or worse by using it? Let's say
Queasy gets better.
Whoa! What the fuck? This is gonna post on Twitter. I don't associate with that. I don't associate with that. I don't agree.
Guys. I'm trying to stir up some Queasy beef so that he can retweet the podcast so we get more impressions. That's all.
Keep this out the tweet. Keep this out the tweet. We don't need
this.
This
is already getting cut out, mate. It's already cut out.
I think if you see like Peterbot or Flixie, Vico, these guys, they're not gonna get better doing it, right? But there will be a subset of pros who are slower mechanically, or obviously pros are still fast, but like who are just going to see this as like a speed boost potentially. Like especially, I'll be real, the controller players are the big one, right? Like
there are a needed speed boost.
No, that's not needed, but it's beneficial. It's the same way that some people use edit on release because it's a little faster and it's less buttons to push, and other players don't. It's like, you know, it's there's an option and it's there. If it's roughly equally as good, it might be easier in some scenarios that some players find beneficial and not for others. Like the reason I don't use edit on release is because I like the speed. It might be a little bit worse, but I feel like overall I'm a little bit faster because I use it. It comes with the downside of, being more difficult to make good peaks and good edits and things like that, but there's an upside of speed. And I think some people, when it gets to like pros, will also have that because they might be really good at making good peaks. So naturally, okay, is the fact that I'm not using like the normal edit a downside? No, because I'm really good at always making sure I make like a good peak or any of these kind of things as well. So I do see that there could be, if it was in comp, there absolutely could be some pros that use it. There's no doubt. But like, would it be widely adopted amongst the best players in the world? It's probably not, unless you're a controller player, I would say.
It's funny you say that because Reason literally just tweeted, the first person to master Simple Edit as a pro is going to be the best player.
And then you see Vidil, what the Vidil tweet is.
I saw Vidil's tweet.
We're getting added on it. Yeah.
I feel like I want to see these guys actually try it and then know the limitations, but yeah.
Well, like, the thing is, as a pro, in most cases, there's no incentive to yet. And that's why, like, I interjected there, Reese, for a second. It's like, for a lot of pros, yes, you might get faster, but like, what is that doing for you? You know, like, I don't think faster equals better, right? It can equal better, but it doesn't always equal better, right? So for a lot of pros, they might have that thought of like, oh, it's faster, but then it's like, what's that doing for you?
Sorry, continue.
And just the last thing I'd say on it is like, Boop, the reason why like I'm still not fully on one side and I'm like attached to both sides of this is because what Boop hits on is really important. Is like, for a lot of these players, taking away like functionality, which it might not be a lot of functionality, but just taking away any sort of functionality doesn't serve to like benefit you greatly. And that alone will just make it, for a lot of like the high level players, just not worth it. And that's fine.
Agreed.
But I really want to see a new generation of players use this.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I think
like, I want to see it.
The last thing I want to mention on it in terms of speed is that it's not only speed in terms of, it's physically faster, I can triple edit quicker on this. It's less button presses, which means less things messed up. And that matters in a laggy lobby. Because what you've got to remember is when you're going to edit in a laggy lobby, say it's that FNtasia Global Championships in 2023, and it's the most laggiest shit of all time, and to edit a wall, you have to press edit, wait for the lag, then the tiles pop up, press the tiles, hit confirm, wait for the lag to confirm. When that's all done in one button press, man, that's half the time already done. There's a lot of applications. Also, like, you don't have to, what if I mistime my tile clicks or whatever? It's like, if it's so much easier just to look at it and press the edit button. So it's not necessarily just speed in terms of like, I could be mechanically faster. There's just less opportunity to mess up stuff, quite frankly, as well, which I think is a big opportunity cost for a lot of those like mid-tier competitive players. Like, obviously, we're talking about the tier one's probably not going to switch to it, but like those mid-tier players can get so much better and make way less mistakes just by doing that. I sound like I'm like the biggest person for it, but after testing it, I've seen the potential. I've seen clips of the potential.
You were just able to do a triple edit for once. You was like, wow, this is mind blowing.
Boom. Go on my Twitter. I've done 17 triple edits in a row.
The second I said that,
17, baby.
It's all that London ping giving you those triple edits. There's nothing else.
Load up right now and do 18 triple edits. Fucking bet you can.
I can't.
I've got simple edit on, mate. I can. Well, simple edit. We'll keep track of this over time because I'm sure this will get interesting.
Tournaments.
Yeah.
I hope it does because I now want to switch to it. Reese is convinced me I should just switch to it, because I have nothing to lose, so I'm not going pro.
We got our tournaments to play. I don't want you playing simple edit and then just not be able to use it in tournaments.
Wait, if Faxi was using it in tournament mode, then you could probably just use it in tournaments. Maybe it's bugged.
I've tested it.
Oh, he wasn't using scrim? Okay.
No.
Because I thought he was using it in scrims because I started talking about it, but never mind then. Yeah.
No.
I know we've talked about simple edit for a long time, but there's one more thing to mention that is actually a big problem the way that it is now. If it is mass applied and so many people like this option, and then they try to load into a tournament, what actually happens is it just pushes you to normal editing settings. So there's going to be people who, as someone mentioned earlier, skin cups, We're like,
Yeah.
oh, let's play the Skin Cup, and they have no idea that this setting's not available, and they're gonna go in and they're gonna be like, what are these tiles? Like, I don't know what this is, you know. So I feel like there's actually a problem with the fact that there's no warning. There's nothing.
Does it not say it on the setting thing?
I've not checked on the side of it, but I didn't read it clearly, so
Yeah,
I
you're
won't
just
be
so
the only
excited.
one who didn't. Yeah,
But most other games, most other games that like normal games would just put warning not
Yes,
available in
yeah.
tournaments on the
or like
setting.
when you queue into the tournament, there should maybe be a pop-up that says like, "Oh, you're using Simple Edit. This is
Right.
not available in the game." But like because I saw people, I didn't even know it wasn't available in tournaments, and I saw people mention it, and I went and tested it this morning as well, just to see if they had changed it or not. And I was like, "Oh no, you just immediately go back to normal editing settings." So there will be people who will just try to load into a tournament and just be the shittest players of all time. So those like that. Imagine now like low elo lobbies. That's the freest W key because all these kids are gonna be like running around with blue tiles all over their screen.
Yes, that's a great point. Good to know. All right. All right. Yeah. Epic, please, tell us that it doesn't work in tournaments next time. We already talked about the Oni Mask and the Blade a bit. I think they did say though that the Blade, or at least it's in like the Trello, that like the Blade's getting patched a bit.
I think it's the
fixing
movement, like sprinting under a ramp. So people are like, does that include the blade? Because like you're tack sprinting into a dash. So we don't know if it's getting removed or not.
Okay. And obviously we had EJ dashing was back in the game, but it's getting fixed. I saw EJ, like he tweeted like, oh, so is it time to come back? No.
I actually forgot that EJ was a person. Until you said that this moment, you've called it EJ Dash all this time, and I said to someone, because who was I speaking to? I can't remember. I was speaking to someone yesterday. I was like, EJ Dash in the back. And they're like, oh, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's when you go over the ramp. The OGs remember. It's when you put the ramp over your head and it boosts you forward. And I, up until this moment, forgot that EJ was a person and it was named after him.
There you go.
You're just casually talking about EJ dashing to your girlfriend in the kitchens, like, what's that EJ thing?
Babe, what's an EJ dash?
Babe, you don't know anything about movement mechanics.
Have you heard about Simple Edit?
Oh,
Have you heard about the boot peak? Oh my, it's
The boot peak. Wow.
boot peak.
You've not heard about that. That's because it doesn't fucking
greatest
exist.
thing.
Yeah, that's why, yeah.
Unfortunately, that will also be taken away.
Yes,
the masses,
finally, no more talking about it.
The masses are in disarray. I've heard riots are starting.
Oh god!
Look at that! Look at it! Look at it!
Oh no!
Boom!
Wow, look at that!
Look at that!
48 damage you got from it. That's
Look
really
how
Yeah, but that's
fucking
my aim
everything.
socks though. But look at that!
Wow,
Boom.
31 damage is crazy.
Dude, Klex went into a game and he was like, dude, this boot peak is great. He didn't say boot peak.
No,
Yeah, he
did
did
not
say
do
boot peak. Yeah,
He did say it was, dude, why is this actually good? And then all the 15,000 views in the chat had to inform me that it is indeed called the boot peak. So now he knows. Yeah.
If
What's
you're on
so funny
15
about the
accounts.
boot peak is before I saw you coin the boot peak, I had like done it by accident in creative, but like it messed me up because I was like, I'm like jumping out of a box, and I'm like flying off, and I'm like, fuck is happening? I was so mad, and then I'm like hearing boot peak, and I'm like, oh.
You gotta be careful with the unintentional boot peak. It can just be off guard sometimes. Yeah,
It can be a detriment.
it's a dangerous thing. Yeah.
We had some more competitive focus changes. Some very, very big ones. I'm going to tease you a bit. We're going to start with the new tournament eligibility. They have changed the requirements to play a tournament. They sort of hinted towards it last week in the blog post that they were going to be adding or changing some more stuff. But essentially now you have to have an account level of 350, and you also have to have played in at least 14 tournaments within the past 180 days. Now, this is a huge change to combat against cheaters and to make it harder for cheaters to be in the tournaments that we all play and love. But there were a lot of non-grinders who were very upset about this because they said 14 tournaments in the past 180 days. I'm not playing 14 tournaments. How am I going to play the bloody Cash Cup this week? And how am I going to play FNTS? Oh my goodness, I was laughing at every single one of those tweets of people losing their minds. Like, I guess I'm done with competitive now. The comeback's gone. I can't play comp no more. What do you guys think of the new tournament eligibility?
I just want to say, whatever chef Epic has employed to cook this hub with all their changes they're making at the moment, keep him employed. Because this is, I know, I'm seeing, Stormy, right, Kiriachi, Varrox are like, well, my comeback's over. My comeback, the grind is done. It's like, if you cannot, genuinely, like, if you really want to come back to the game, it is not hard to play 14 tournaments. Obviously, it's a bit annoying that they tweeted this now. It would have been nice to tweet it during OG season so you could play some other tournaments and it would have been nice. But realistically, if you miss one FNCS and you still want to come back to the game, realistically, whatever. You'll still be able to play the later divisional cups. Obviously, you'll be so far behind, it'll be really hard to catch up. But if you're serious about competitive, you will do this. It's another, as we talked about, I think, on the last episode, it's another step. It's another hurdle for cheaters to get through. Is not only now do you have to find an account level 350, you now also have to find an account which has played 14 events, which if you look at most cheaters who are playing at the top level, or like who have played and qualified for tournaments, right? They have 3 accounts played, 4 accounts played, and everyone's like, how the fuck are they even able to play tournaments? And finally we have this, and yes, there's going to be like 20 old players coming back to the game, who are pros or whatever. But if you're serious about competing, which competitive should be serious, you'll play the ranked cups, you'll play the OG cups, you'll play whatever you need to do to get into competitive, which is just a huge, huge change.
I'll say it. I know everyone's thinking it. Shut the fuck up. You quit.
Yeah.
Just play the game, bro. I don't care about your opinions. You've not played in like a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like, the tournaments aren't for you then. Just fucking play the game first. That's it. Like, all the complaints that, I can't play now, it was over. And if you said the comeback is over, there was no comeback if this is a hurdle too strong. You were going to fall at whatever the first hurdle was if this is it. Like, that's it. Move on. I don't care. Great change.
The only one that can complain is Kiriachi, because that brother came back and qualified a Trio Cash Cup final on his first tournament back, and Verix and stuff. Like, it applies to those guys. It's a bit shitty, but okay, yes. But the majority of people this affects, the people that come back to the game, you weren't gonna make Division 1 anyways, right? You weren't gonna make Division 2 probably either. It's gonna be so tough to do that. So it's okay if you miss a few tournaments. And realistically, it's such a small barrier of entry now that you realize that region lock counts towards this. You can play Asia, Middle East, Brazil, OCE, some other shitty regions I forget. NA West, oh yeah, that one. NA West, NA Central, and EU. You can play 8 different regions to catch up in a ranked cup, and then you'll be back in a week again, right? But then for the average cheater, 7? Is there 7 regions?
7 regions.
Didn't they add a region?
Right now.
Oh, they added.
It was 7. There was 7. Right. They removed one.
You're right,
We're back to 7 now.
You have to realize, okay, if it's this annoying for a person that casually plays competitive, all they have to do is do that once. That's it. But if you're a cheater, every single time you get banned, account level 350, 14 tournaments, and then even if you do play 14 tournaments, you gotta make it out of Division 3 into Division 2 without getting banned, into Division 2 into Division 1 without getting banned, Day 1 and Day 2 without getting banned, another day in between Day 1 and Day 2 until the finals without getting banned. So you have 5 different checks, essentially, to get banned. That is, if I'm a cheater, I'm just getting a job at McDonald's at that point, right? Because what's the point? There's so much effort just to potentially not even make it to the set lobbies and even not even get the money. So if it's this annoying for average players, it's gonna be super annoying for cheaters. Good.
Yeah.
Small percentage affected.
I think a lot of those people as well, unfortunately, forget that it's kind of the point. They're like, yeah, but now people who haven't played the game in ages, they can't come back and play a tournament. Yeah, the majority of those people are fucking cheating when they were coming back. That's the whole point, That's why they're doing this, It's unfortunate that, you are legitimate and you get caught out. But if you want to come back and play, just play a bunch of fucking tournaments. You'll miss a week. It's not that bad. Yeah, maybe I just sound like an epic glazer, but I don't know. I feel like people forget, this is literally the point of the rule. It's because so many of those people that were just coming back could come back, play anything. And it's I'll just cheat my ass off, but yeah. New changes, good. More barriers. Again, like we said last week when we had a conversation about cheaters, you're not going to eradicate cheaters. Cheaters aren't just going to be gone. But the harder you make it, the less likely we're going to see those cheaters competing at the high level, which is, been a pain to see for the past couple of years. So no problems on my side when it comes to that.
I think with any change Epic Games ever makes, there's going to be people, or in the world, forget even Fortnite, any change to anything ever, there's always going to be people who are negatively impacted by it. Yeah. In this instance, the vast majority of people who are negatively impacted are cheaters, and the small handful of people who would have come back that are I could have played in FNCS, it's 7 people. So I think the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Is that the phrase in this instance? So there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. But what we've been waiting for them to cook up for even longer. Drumroll, please. Siphon is back. Siphon is active.
But yeah.
Not yet, at least. 75 health over 5 seconds in Chapter 6 Season 1 tournaments, including FNCS Major 1. We've been waiting for them to announce what was happening with Siphon, and they finally have. Not the original Siphon that we, all know and love, but one of the better Siphons from the Siphon trial, at least,
Second best.
From when we were talking about it. I can't really remember what we said about Siphon trials, but I think this one was like the second best one that we all liked.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's for what Epic won, and we obviously don't know exactly what they want, but the biggest downside a lot of people had is end games. When you're in end game, you get a kill, you go for a refresh, or you get a refresh in Storm, it feels unrewarding. You feel like you're griefing yourself more than you're benefiting yourself. And there's so many clutches. If you think about the Benji Fisher clutch all the way back in Chapter 2, you think about obviously the Zectro one, you think about any of these like all the way back, like Siphon is a huge impact in all of these clutches, right? So having this 75 health over 5 seconds is perfect for end games. It means so for those clutches in end game, it makes it so much better. Is it the one I wanted? No. I think all of us, if we had a choice, would have either the 50 Siphon or the 40 Siphon. Just, the normal bog standard 50 or 40 Siphon, and we'd be fine with it. But for a competitive, solely for competitive and for endgames, it's a really nice change. Just add it to ranked, please. That's all I ask. Just add it to ranked, and we'll be happy.
I want shield.
I also like shield. But there's some shield on the map.
All I'm saying is if I kill someone in early game, if I get an AR and I beam him out the sky because I got a good drop, I want 50 shield. I feel like Siphon should have just been 50 overtime, and it's 50 effective overtime rather than just or 40 effective overtime. I don't care. I want shield. I'm not just complaining because for the sake of complaining. I love that we have Siphon, but part of the Siphon I liked was the fact that you're benefited by making early pushes. You can get a kill, you get shield, you get more advantage. If you're scuffed, there's tons of people around you. Still being capped, having 100 HP off spawn is kind of annoying. I feel like a lot of the decisions of choosing this one was very strictly clutch based and end game related. And I feel like Epic probably heard all the arguments, and they're like, the only good argument we've really heard for Siphon that doesn't impact a lot of people is that in end game you can make better solo clutches. So this, of course, really benefits you there, which is great. But I like shield. I'll be honest. I think it's just like a feeling. I like the feeling of having it.
This was literally just the best one to satisfy both sides of the argument as much as possible. And I know a lot of our listeners won't understand. They'll be like, what side of the argument? Siphon's the best thing. Obviously, when you have Siphon in the game that gives shields, it incentivizes people to W key, and there's reasons for not wanting people to do that in general play, right? The games are less stacked. It's already very hard to balance for having equally skilled players in a lobby, right? So there's always going to be some imbalance. There's always going to be better people in a lobby, significantly better people in a lobby than one another. So obviously having Siphon incentivizes those better people to just shit on everyone else even more because they're rewarded for the killing that they're doing. And so you still give those people something when it comes to the endgame glitches while not, too harshly affecting or too heavily incentivizing people to W key a bunch. Again, some people might not be satisfied with that. I understand for the reasons Reese highlighted. I like getting shield as well when I get a kill, especially when I'm in a scrappy battle and there's one guy comes in, you kill him. Cool, let me get my shield so I can deal with the next guy that's coming. It's it's annoying. I get that. But I think this was probably the best to satisfy both sides of the argument.
It's basically the it's the best of both worlds, like you said, right? For those of you that understand the decision made, this was the most obvious one that we're going to do. Is either this one or 25-25, I think was the likeliest one. But you're satisfying, like you said, the ability to solo clutch in endgame, the hype moments that we've had, the Benji Fisher clutches, the Peter bots of the world, and then, even though that didn't have Siphon, and then you have the mid-game fights, which is what Epic really cares about, is lowering the skill gap between the average player and the better player. Because if the best player always gets 50 shield, well then they're going to get more kills, you're gonna get double kills, triple kills. You're just gonna keep on your rampage. But if you only get 75 white up, then you still have downtime between each fight where you have to pop minis, pop big pots, all those things. So they've literally found the perfect mix between it. Honestly, in terms of what we like as a competitive community, I think this is even better for late game clutches, because that slow ticking of HP, and it double ups as well. Like you get another kill, it doubles up, right? So that slow ticking just gives you so much more opportunity for play. You can see you don't get the HP instantly. You can see it slowly going up, and then you can find multiple kills and store them. You can see that having an impact. So I think it's even better than just having 50 siphon. But I can see why people can be pissed about it. It doesn't really matter too much. We're getting some part of it. It's better than nothing. And most of the decisions we've seen, if it doesn't have the impact that we want in like broadcasts or things like that, they might even change it again, because they're not
specifically said chapter 6 season 1.
Yeah. So they might change it again if it's not what they want for the broadcast and competitive as a whole. They might change it again. They might do another test, another trial. Because I know that a lot of people also want a 50 shield. So we'll see. But good for now.
They're trying things, and that's all we can ask.
All we can ask. That's all we've been asking for. Just try some shit, please. Thank you for trying some shit. Thank you very much, our lovely friends at Epic Games. All in all, season good. Like season. Me like season good. Me play more season today. Me play FNCS this weekend.
There's one last thing you haven't said.
What did I forget?
Forecast getting removed from competitive. This is huge for, I think, in general. I think it's one of the best changes, and it backs up what you said at the start. This is one of the most balanced seasons. It's one of the best seasons. It's one of the, like, as you said, there's no real god spot when you just look at loot or anything around the map. There's nothing insane you're playing for. You're not even playing for forecast. There's no bunkers. There's island, which isn't really that good, but you obviously landing spot doesn't really dictate that too much. It's like, realistically, you just now have balanced landing spots all over the map, and you don't have a team in a meta like this, in a hit scan meta with the red dots, who just get to see every single zone for the whole game.
So what I find the most interesting about this is going to sound insanely patronizing to Epic Games, and this is not like the intent behind this, but like, they're making a lot of really good changes without being asked. Like, this is a change that's really good for competitive Fortnite, but there wasn't like tons of people. It isn't like the flurries of competitive fan of all saying, "Oh, forecast is so broken." Now, like, it is, and there are benefits for it and negatives to it. There's arguments for it being good in the game, for fighting and blah 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 blah. But there wasn't like a huge outcry of people saying we need to get rid of forecast because it's so broken. I'm sure Blood X was
just crying about
it or something. But
there's too many things to cry about.
There was too many things
to cry about so much.
And like, so I try not to sound patronizing when I say this, but like, they're doing a really good job of actually just analyzing the game and seeing what is some of the broken stuff and like changing it and fixing it. And I feel like we've not seen that in like a long time. Which,
you know why, Reese?
The comp team got the power. They get more power.
You know why, Reese?
Mm-hmm.
You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out. Thanks for removing forecasts. Yeah, that's good. I forgot about that. It's funny because people were like claiming drops, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm landing here." Like Peterbot's one is the funniest one. Peterbot was like, "I'm landing here, and I'm keying any forecast I feel like." Yeah, it's just like, whichever one I want.
Where are you going now? Yeah.
The funniest thing is that a lot of people use this as an excuse for moving too. Like, I know there was some spawn fights between like Tace and Chulex and like I can't remember the German team. I can't remember. Noms, yeah. And Noms like, we just had to move to a different spot because forecast is gone now. Like, that's why we're moving. So a lot of people are making this excuse. I think it's funny because when this went live, I was streaming the customs, and there were a bunch of pros in the chat, and they're like, "Man, there's one team that's just gonna be doing badly now. Man, this one team is screwed." I'm like, "Let me know who it is." They're like, "Nah, I can't leak who it is. I'm like, "Send me a message in DMs." And the name that he sent, I can't.
Now you're not gonna leak.
I can't leak it. It's not mine. It's not mine to leak. I'll tell you guys
later.
Can you send
it to me? Can you message it me?
Yeah, it's not who you think it is, by the way.
Put it in the group, and we all want to say the name.
I feel like it is who I think it is.
Is that who you think it is?
That was not who I thought it was.
So that was the team they mentioned. It's not the one you think. I know the one you're thinking. You're thinking of Peterbot, right?
That wasn't what I was thinking.
Oh, really?
thinking.
Okay,
I was
interesting.
thinking I was thinking they were talking about my good friend.
Yeah,
Dave.
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
Man, look at the audience are just being not in the know.
Yeah, I know.
Who are they talking about? Who are they talking about?
Whoever you think it is, it's definitely them. So you should send hate to Boop because he's saying your favorite pro is shit without forecast.
No,
so I
said your favorite pro is saying that your favorite pro is shit. I'm not saying the shit. I'm saying your favorite pro is saying that your favorite pro is shit.
When was
Whoever
the
you
last
think
time
it
they
is,
had a
let's just
forecast,
start
though?
some people in the comments.
Yeah.
Who do you
Well,
think it is?
the reasoning behind that is like it. I could. It's because of this.
Oh no, just say it after the podcast.
Do they think like they're the person's cheating it?
No. Essentially, they're thinking they're a good team, but if they want to compete with the other teams this season, they need that to win. Otherwise, they can't win. That's what they're saying.
That's probably true as well.
Oh, interesting. All right,
There you go.
sorry,
Reese just called them
listeners.
shit as well.
Reese also calls them shit.
Yeah.
All right, listeners, I'm
Numbers
so sorry.
speak for
We will never
themselves.
do that again.
Yeah,
we would
that-
never do
that
that
was-
again.
that
That was really
Hey,
mean.
you
That
just
was
gotta
so
be.
mean.
You just gotta be in the boop stream to be in the know. You know, if you're not there, then you won't know these things.
That was so mean. Why did we do that?
Donate to who you think is shit without forecast. Boom.
Okay, bro. All right. Super thanks. Let's get to the super thankers.
There you go.
Let's get to the super thankers. Who is giving us their money this week? Low Taper Jr. Big shout out to Low Taper Jr. He says, do you think there should be more divisions? Because, for example, in EU, only top 900 make it to higher divisions. The rest will be in Division 3. And the skill difference between the top 3K and Trio Cash Cuts right now, the top 10K from just the top 50K is massive.
Massive.
You need a really good match history with lots of kills for 20 games just to get to Division 2. So it's almost impossible if you're not already regular getting top 1K right now. That would make some games full W key fest and not very enjoyable. Also, with more than 50K teams playing on EU last week, that's more than enough to make more divisions. With more divisions, everyone would have the goal of ranking up in sight, so they would be more hooked onto competitive.
No. I don't think we need more divisions. Because, like, sure, the skill difference is big between, top 3K and top 30K or whatever, but the difference between the top, 2K and top 10K is not that much different at all. Like, that's a big amount of players, and there's actually not really that much of a skill gap. Like, if anyone who averages top 10K, they can place top 2K one tournament, It's difference between saying a top K player can't place first or whatever. No. That's would be, they go some check their PC or whatever. But in this situation where it says, it's almost impossible if they're not already placing in the top 1K right now, well, you're taking out the top 1K players, essentially. So then it is, if the people who were going from placing, top 1,001st, they're now essentially placing first if you take out the top 1,000 teams. Okay, just mathematically, So I don't think we need more divisions because of that. The wider you get away from the top, the more just I don't know, should we be having a division for just wobbles who, need simple edit? I don't know, probably not. Yeah.
So every subdivision.
So what you're saying, Mr. Low Taper Jr., is that it works. The format works, right? It's because you're not good enough to get into Division 2, you deserve to be in Division 3. That's literally the whole format. That's the point of the format. Welcome to a proper ranked mode. Bad players that can't make top 1,000, not saying you're a bad human, you're just a bad Fortnite player, cannot make it in Division 2.
He's giving us his money, chill.
Hey, if we glazed him for giving us money, he wouldn't respect us as human beings. No, I respect him.
That's true.
I'll give it to you straight,
You might just be bad, bro.
That's it. Yes, it's intended. That's the way it's done. Not everyone is meant to be in money tournaments. But the added benefit of this is when you do finally make it out the hood, it feels even better, right? You're struggling week 1, and then 1,000 people get kicked into Division 2. It's a little bit easier. You're doing a little bit better. The week after that, you do a little bit better again. And at some point, if you're within the top maybe 6,000 or whatever the hell it is, maybe you'll make it in, and that'll feel good at that point. It's similar to people being angry about solo victory because be removed. Yes, you're losing out on $70 maybe once a season. But you have now a new goal of making it out of Division 3 into Division 2. And that's going to feel even better because you're doing it in, it's going to take longer and longer, and it's in the team game mode. It's easier to improve. So yes, this is intended. Not everyone's going to be good. Not everyone's going to be able to make it in. But you're going to be ranked appropriately to your skill level.
Yeah, and I wanted to say there's a couple of points here which I do think are massively wrong. Like him saying a massive W key fest. Maybe in another season where we had the medallions, or maybe when we had the mythic minigun and stuff like that, like we had an OG, I could see that. In this meta we have right now, and I know this comment was probably before the meta and everything got released, they're not going to be W key. Everyone's going to be landing everywhere. Everyone's going to have very similar loot. Everyone's going to be pretty similar skill level. So there's not just going to be a team who are just the gods of the lobby, the Thanoses of the lobby, running everyone down. That's very unlikely to happen, right? The second thing about like getting high kills, if I remember correctly, it's 1 point a kill in the lower divisions.
Yeah.
So you won't even need to have high kills to qualify to these. It's top 300 to qualify, if I'm not mistaken, on EU, right? So realistically, you won't need an insane match history in those lobbies to qualify. You're going to need, yes, good placement, but that means the games are going to be stacked, and then that means that getting good games within stacked games is much more skilled than, obviously, or much more enjoyable for the majority of players than getting keyed constantly, right? I did first think, okay, maybe more divisions on EU would be good, but then you made a very valid point, Reese. Realistically, the difference between a top 20k player and a top 2k player is not that different. Really, it's not. If you have one good day from top 20k, you could easily come top 2k. And
if you have one good game,
if you have a good game,
top 20k to 10K,
The last game, pretty much, right?
Yeah, literally. So and also over 20 games, getting consistency over that increases the fact that playing placement matters more. Because if you're keying and dying loads, because again, you're not going to have god loot, you're probably going to end up having worst match history and getting top 300 in consistency out of 50,000 teams. You're going to need to play more end games. So I just think this all kind of adds up into games will be stacked without the god players in your lobby ruining the games with the medallions, keying everyone with forecasts and everything. And it's just going to be a lot of fun as someone who will probably be in Division 3 for hopefully only a portion, but probably the whole time. I think it'll be very enjoyable to play. It just will. I think it'll be so much fun to watch and to play and see the games because everyone will be playing stacked games consistently.
Yeah, I'm not going to patronize you too much, Low Taper Jr., and explain how a ranked system works like everyone else just did. But I will say, I think he understands the point you guys are making. I don't think he's really... I think what the point he was specifically just getting at was just the fact that like the difference between a 2K player and a 10K player is more. I agree with Reese though that it's not as much as he probably thinks it is. Mm-hmm. With that being said though, I also probably fall in the middle. Like I don't think, like you were saying just then, like a 2K player and a 20K player is not that difference. I don't agree with that. I think the players who are like all the way at the bottom are really bad. And I find it ironic Harry saying that because I play tournaments with Harry where when we're in low elo, he turns into the most confident player of all time and he's like, yeah, these guys are all shit. So I agree with him in a bit. Like, I don't think a new division's needed, but I do agree that in EU specifically, like Div 3 is gonna be a bit like what he's saying, where like I think you're gonna have to have a much better match history than you guys probably think in EU specifically.
You don't need a good match history, but like I'm just thinking of like trio cash cups, top 1K match histories. They're good, but they're not insane. But also, I
think you're gonna have to win. Like, it's not gonna be like as insane as like the other tournament. What was that one tournament where you had to like win every game or something? It's not gonna be like
Reload cups.
It's not like that. But like I think you're gonna have like an actual like really good match history. Maybe just even if it's just in like week 1. But I don't know.
I mean, well, we'll see. We'll see how the games are.
We'll see. Yeah.
Like I think it'll be interesting. And who knows, Low Taper Jr. You know, maybe you just get into Division 1 and you don't even need to worry about any of this. Maybe you just have a good week in the Placement Cup. Don't aim too low. Think about, what if you're in Division 2 straight away? Perfect. You don't even need to think about these problems.
Maybe. I do think Div 3 experience in EU will be different and probably worse than other regions.
I also don't know how they're going to do ELO. Because I don't know if they have to have MMR. If they don't, it's insane. But because if you have MMR in like Div 3 in other regions, that's a bit problematic because there's probably not going to be that many teams. But in EU, you have to have MMR because if there's a team in first place in a team in 20,000th or whatever, then yes, the games are going to be dead.
Yeah. All right. 10K. What did 10K have to say? Reese spewing Tory rhetoric. Oh God.
The floor's yours, Reese.
The floor's
right. Reese.
First as a Scotsman, we're very, very, very interested in English politics, I must say. Yeah, we were trying to figure out like what this
did
even
he
was
say?
about.
Yeah, like what did we
Yeah.
say last ep that could possibly be
Considered
considered in some
Tory
way
rhetoric.
Tory rhetoric? Like,
Yeah.
what? And it's
If you're not
Reese,
a-
the Scottish
know.
man. Like,
Scottish man, yeah, very famously.
oh,
I think
God.
what's funny is probably just a joke I made. Who cares? Comment down below what my Tory rhetoric might be if you're from the
Yeah.
UK.
Go on. It's gonna get really
No,
bad.
no, like what I might have said.
No, what
not,
did he say? Not
what I
your
might have
Tory
said.
rhetoric.
Yeah,
don't
not
put your Tory rhetoric.
Don't
What kind of
make
things
up.
do you expect
no.
Reese
Yeah.
to say?
Yeah,
by
yeah,
saying-
yeah. Don't
yeah.
make up.
Just what
Don't
did
make
we
up what you
say
might think
last
is it.
ep that
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be considered, even though I don't think it's anything. All right, Lil Fampa, what did Lil Fampa say? Go on. Shout out to Lil Fampa, always say every week. Don't think I've ever been more bored. I thought he was about to say watching this podcast. Don't think I've ever been more bored of a season as much as this one. He's obviously talking about last season, not he's talking about remix, not this new season. I'd love to know what he says about this new season. I think the whole OG gimmick is already getting old and Epic needs to move on. The only positive from remix was the pump being back. Chapter 6 can't come soon enough. Anyways, I'm off to torture my eyes with some Frank Lampard managed football. Wish me luck. Love you guys. Yeah, or Coventry have a new manager and it's Frank Lampard. So
Oh dear.
good luck. Good luck to all the Coventry fans.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong about the OG gimmick, though. I'm with him. It was decent, it was fun, and from what I think the leakers said, if I'm not mistaken, is there's not an OG next November.
No chapter
there's-
3. Chapter 3
there's-
OG.
Yeah, there's no Chapter 3 OG, because like I think they said the Chapter 6 ends in December. So it's like, they will just go on for the entire time, which, you know, we had 2 good seasons, 2 good OG seasons, it was fun. We don't need it anymore when we've got OG constantly now.
Yeah, but also like that was very predictable. Like didn't we have this conversation in the pod of like they probably wouldn't be able to do it because it's like they're gonna have to have a gimmick probably, but like not OG again.
No.
Chapter 6 remixed.
Imagine. All right, yeah. Cheers, Lil Thumper. Good luck with Frank Lampard.
Yeah. I
have
wish
fun.
you luck. All the
Let,
best.
let us know how the football is. Bloody hell, my eyes are terrible. I gotta get close to this one. Yo, FNtasia, what's good? Milky is what said. He said, just wondering if you'd ever consider doing a live podcast. Oh, well.
let us
Well,
know.
I have news for you. I know sometimes the pods are a bit late or delayed and y'all end up reacting to old info, which can feel extra outdated for someone like me in Shanghai. And by the time I get to listen, it's already old tweets and shit. To be fair, it can also be hard, I guess, to stay connected with fresh takes when things are moving so quickly. Nevertheless, I still watch every episode because I love your opinions and commentary. Even if you went live, it would be late as fuck for me. And I'd still absolutely stay up and watch. Also, chill with the Asia slander. 1, never. 2, you are a newer listener because this podcast started out live. It was live. The first 6 episodes was live. Look, in terms of the new info thing, Fortnite moves too fast. We're always the Fortnite moves way too fast. We're never gonna be able to well, actually, that's not true. I wouldn't say never, but it's gonna be hard for us to be reactive with a one-time weekly podcast. There's always things unless we were changing when we drop the pod every week, it'd be hard for it to always feel like they're reacting to the newest thing that just happened right now. So yeah, that's really hard to do. I will say though, there's been times when the pod's been delayed, which probably doesn't help. Sometimes for things out of our control, sometimes I might mess up on something. But for the most part, we try to get the pod out on Wednesday.
The problem is a lot of the time banks don't take that big of a transfer, so we have to wait for the money to hit Reese's account every month. And then when it doesn't come, he just doesn't want to show up on the podcast. Very tough.
You always know whether the bank, when I've been paid or not, whether I've got the lights on, right? Right now, it's kind of dim in here. I'm just still waiting. I
I
can't
was going
afford
to mention your light in this
afford
app.
electricity.
I was going to say something earlier. I was like, why are you just in the dark today? What's up with that look?
Honestly, I just keep getting a headache when I put this light on. So I put it on as dim as possible just to keep me in. Just so I'm visible.
I was going to say something else, but Boo made a good point. I don't need to say anything. The only thing I'll say is we record a day before it gets uploaded most of the time, so it's not like we're that delayed. It's not like we're recording a week in advance.
Yeah, the whole late info stuff as well. Maybe I'm just feeling a bit personal about that.
Yeah.
But
like what do you
you'd be
mean?
surprised. A lot of the eps, especially the last like 4 eps, I think were recorded day of. Like,
On
most
Wednesday.
most of the eps are either recorded the day before you see the episode or the day you see the episode. So we're reacting to a lot of stuff as fresh as possible.
It sounds like
now,
a you problem, Milky. That's what it sounds
maybe
like.
you're
you know?
listening to the podcast too late.
Maybe,
the problem.
like you're living in Shanghai, you think you're better than us, like other side of the country, probably in your fresh high-rise tower with your $10. You know, it's alright. But it's also not our fault that Peterbot drops 3 fucking trios every week as well, right?
Yeah.
So like, no shit, the thing's gonna be late at that point. But,
Yeah, that's true.
I think this is a systematic problem with Fortnite because it doesn't matter, even if you are using a medium of content which is like instantaneous, like Twitter, you know, or I'll use the example of, I love to talk about Simple Edit some more. I made the short about Simple Edit and I put it up within like, you know, a couple hours after it coming out. And a couple hours after that, it was already outdated because they made a change to it. So it's like, even if we upload, you know, we're obviously, the tweets we respond to and things we talk about might be a little bit older because that stuff might have already happened a few days before we record. Our reactions are always as on time as possible. But even if we do everything right, if it happens live in the podcast where a change comes out, we talk about it and it goes up, by the time it's up, it could still have changed already.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of the nature of Fortnite. So, you know, we do our best to keep it in time as much as possible. And everything outside of that, we try to keep it interesting because we already know some of this shit might be old by the time you hear it.
Producer Quartz did also mention a good point that he might just be like reacting to like the one ep we did where we recorded it on like the Sunday on the 17th and dropped it on the Wednesday. And it was the week we missed an ep. So it was like, that I guess would have felt like an old episode, I guess. So maybe it's fair enough. Also, would we do a live ep? I think we'd keep the pod's gonna probably stay like recorded how it is, but I wouldn't be against doing a live ep if there was like some special reason to do it. But like, never really. I
spoke about that. I think next Globals, I just like I booked a flight out to fucking London and we do like an IRL podcast.
Yeah,
I think
we're gonna be at next Globals, mate. We're gonna be there.
True, but like for whatever big next event, it's a €30 flight to London. Let me hop over the pond, you know? We'll do a little IRL podcast. I think that might be nice.
That's actually so sad to hear because it's more expensive for me to get to London, and I live in England, than it is for you to get to London.
That's actually true, yeah.
But I'm going on like some Ryanair flight where I'm strapped to the bottom of the plane, so it's...
I'll take that.
Isn't any better.
It's not much better for me.
Yeah, the train is not much better. Yeah, guys, please send in more super thanks so Boop can fly to London and we do the episode all together in person.
I'll be in Scotland soon, so...
Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Milky. Hopefully we can satisfy your podcast needs in the future. Benny Cool back with the emojis. Benny says, thoughts on the shoes? ? I like them. Also, do you have any tip on how to not get angry when you die? I have been trying to fix my angry problems, but it ain't working. Please help a brother out. Also, love you, Reese.
Mr. Reese, the floor open.
Reese, floor's open for you, Reese. Go on.
Anger, emotions, it's just part of Fortnite, you know? Sometimes, you know, you play a game of solo cash cup, you're feeling confident, you're cooking things, and you know, something goes a little wrong, and you know what? You just rage. For the most part, the tip I give people the most about how to actually not get frustrated is to just don't care as much. Like, most of the time when people get angry is when their expectations are the highest. Like, the times where I tilt the most are usually the times where I've actually been playing the most, right? I'm actually grinding, I'm practicing, and then it doesn't work, and you're shit, and you're rubbish. And that actually gets more frustrating sometimes because the expectation you've set of yourself is that I should be good, I should be better now. But the reality is, everyone's improvement comes in times when you go up and times when you go down. And overall, the graph trajectory goes up, but there are just some times when you're in a slump and you're just crap. That's just the way it is. Most people in those times are angry and annoyed. So the reality is you just have to kind of try and lower your own expectations beforehand. You're going into a cup, go into it to try and enjoy it, have fun. It's a game overall. You're not playing FNtasia's Grand Finals. You're not playing global championships for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe you are, Benny. I don't know. Maybe you're built like that. But from what I understand, most people aren't. It's a game. It's a hobby. It's something you do for fun. Try and treat it like that. Don't try and treat it fully like a job. And it's still something you can put time into and improve at. But the whole point is that if you're going to be playing Fortnite, it should be improving your life. If you're getting angry and you're getting pissed off, just take a break, stop playing it, because you're probably, for the most part, it aimed for you.
I like how Benny here put I like how Reese has this big inspirational speech, and Benny's just sticking out his tongue and doing winky emojis. It's I think Benny just likes you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
keep doing it.
Whoa.
the most important part of his question that you didn't get to, and that was thoughts on the shoes. And I have to say, the shoes are swaggy. I love the shoes.
The
I
shoes
slapped
are
on.
They're drippy.
I slapped on my Booger skin, and I slapped on some Mercurials, and I was hitting the knee slide in game,
Yeah.
and I felt like a proper baller.
Mate, you're on the football pitch trying to fucking score a goal against me as well.
Yeah, no, it was good. All I want to say is, first of all, the Icelandic Crota, thank you for the 1,500 just to make it look like more. But if you are actually getting angry, there's two options. One, you can either actually let your rage out, and it will, like, if, say, for example, you end up punching something and it hurts, punch a desk, whatever. Not a good thing, but you very quickly realize, okay, this is stupid.
Is this advice?
No, wait for the second one. Second advice is step away from your PC. Just step away from your PC, go get a
And then
glass
punch
of
a
water,
person.
Punch a person, knock someone out.
No, do not do that.
Do not do that.
Do you have elderly parents?
It's just getting demonetized,
it's
man.
very
Staircase?
understand that a Fortnite game should not make you angry enough to the point where you should hurt. It's like, and you'll very quickly realize this is stupid. Why am I getting angry? But if it's just like you're just tilted constantly, just step away. Go get a glass of water. Go step outside if you've got a garden or a balcony or anything. Just stay for like a minute.
Not a balcony.
What?
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, and and just go step away from the PC. If you just stay at the PC and you're angry, you're just gonna get more and more frustrated because you're constantly in the situation. If you step away from it, you can come back and you'll be a lot calmer most of the time.
And think about all the aura points you lose when you rage. Like, you just look like a bit of a wally, innit? Like, you're not fucking 14-year-old mongrel. Like, why are you screaming at your screen for, Like, I was playing Fortnite
Maybe it's
the other day.
14-year-old Benny.
I mean, maybe he is. It wouldn't surprise
All
me.
the emojis, yeah?
Yeah. Just stop, Benny. It's fine. Don't rage anymore, Benny, please.
Every time you rage, super donate. And that's
Take out your anger by just sending more money to the channel.
That's
would
what I've
help.
always learned.
That'll calm you down because you'll be like, hold on, I'm losing. I'm hemorrhaging money at this point.
It's like a swear jar. It's the donate jar.
Everybody listening, for every time you rage, you have to send a super chat, and then that's how you keep yourself accountable.
Yeah.
We'll have no money by the end of it. No one's donating.
No one's
anymore.
donating. Everyone's just perfect, level-headed Fortnite players all of a sudden. JKC in number one with this week's Vic Roy. Boom. We get 3 big booms for JKC. Boom. Sorry, I'm sorry.
You can't.
I
You're
was
not
joining
them.
in. I was getting part of it.
You're not them, Lemon.
Harry was getting red.
Yeah, it's a duo trio synergy. This is what we do.
God. I almost forgot to super chat, said JKC this week, but I remembered at the last minute. My bad. We got this guy on lock, bro. Bro's like, my bad, guys. I'm sorry I was late this week. I'll have your lunch money next week, bro. I swear. I'm sorry.
Are we bullying JKC? Is that it?
I hope not. I really hope not. This week, I would like you all to try this super fun tongue twister.
You go ahead, Lemon. Go ahead, Lemon.
Yeah.
Oh, first of all,
you're reading out the comment.
ahead.
You want to continue?
Okay. How much hawk would a hawk to it if a hawk to a could hawk?
Nailed it straight away.
Okay, that was easy, mate. You can't move on with the pod until this has been completed by everyone.
Well, it's good. This is the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
So thank you guys
In
for
fact,
watching.
we can move on. Also,
Go on, everyone has to try it.
if you're a true brain rotter, JKC, you would know it's Hawk Tour, not Hawk A-OK.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh,
Haley Welch should be in Dishambles reading this message.
Yeah.
That's the name of
You
the
guys,
Hawk
you
Tour.
guys have to try it.
Yeah, go ahead, Reese.
All right.
how much hawk could a hawk to have? Hawk to a could hawk talk. There you go. Boom.
You got it wrong. You said hawk.
I know, I got it wrong.
You got it wrong. Hold on.
I was
Gotta
too
redo
confident.
We got to redo it. You can't get...
Get your words out.
Harry, go on.
How much hawk could a hawk to if a hawk to a could hawk to a?
There you go.
Perfect, fluid.
Right, it's not bad. The boop.
Guys, we're too old for this shit, guys.
No, whoa.
I'm older than you. And
Come on, dude.
As a Haley Welch listener, you should actually.
She's my favorite. Have you heard about her
top
Pookie review? Did you hear about that?
Spotify.
Her what review?
I
don't know what you just said.
Pookie review. She reviewed who Pookie is.
Yeah,
Oh
finally.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was news. That's generational.
He's in the lore, bro. He's in the lore.
How much Hawk could a hook? Oh,
He's already fucked up.
How much Hawk could a Hawk to it? If a Hawk to it could Hawk to it. There you go.
There you go.
Good emphasis at the
I
end
spit
there.
on that.
No
thing.
more tongue twisters allowed.
spit on that.
Yeah, that was it. We will never do anything like that again. I don't know how. I don't care how much money you send. We will not do some shit like that again.
There's always a price, though.
$100.
There's always a price.
Maybe. Hey, good luck everyone playing FNCS Trials this week.
Sure.
This weekend. I almost missed it because I told my friend to book tickets for us to go watch Man United this weekend. And then it clicked in my mind. I was like, wait, am I doing something this Saturday? And then I was like, Harry, when's FNCS? And he was like, this Saturday. And I was like, fuck. And I was like, what time is it this Saturday? And he was like, 5. And I was like, fuck. And so I quickly messaged my friend and he was like, I haven't booked the tickets yet. And I was like, don't do that because I unfortunately will not be there. So I'm missing Amarin Ball just to fucking play FNCS. So we got to lock in.
Lock in.
Reese, you, Tomsy, DJ readying up this weekend?
Yes, I made sure I DM'd Tomsy to ask him, have you played over 14 tournaments in the last 180 days? I think he has. I think we should be good on that. So that we should be okay to play. He's not confirmed yet, but I think he'd been playing solo cash cups and stuff before we started playing anyway. So should be.
Where you landed?
No clue. Haven't figured that out yet. No plan. No clue quite yet. It's weird that it's the first tournament, right? There's not even like a tester cup that we can play outside of the performance league, but it's just kind of we're just jumping straight in. The first tournament is it's not the one, but it's like it's quite an important one. So yeah,
do or die.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, looking forward to it.
I'll meet you in Div 3.
See you there.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully be there less time than you. You're not gonna be watching it.
I'm not watching some shitty Div 3 gameplay.
No, I mean like the
trials.
He said C in Div 3, so I was like,
okay, yeah.
After Div 1, you don't exist to me, you know? Like, leave that.
Wow.
You're just not human. I'm sorry.
People exist in week 5 then. Me and Levin will exist in week 5 to you.
Yeah, man. Good luck with that, mate. Good luck.
We're going to need it. Thank you all for listening. We will see you all next week. Appreciate you as always. And peace out.
Bye.